everybody, and welcome to another exciting World Series of Poker final table review brought to you by myself, Evan Jarvis, and Gripsed Poker Training, and the wonderful people at GG Poker who have provided us with this incredible cards up coverage final table feed action. Today, we are reviewing the 8,000 Hong Kong dollar buy-in. That's equivalent about 1,000 US dollars. Divide by 8 to get the US dollar equivalent. The 8,000 Hong Kong dollar final table. This was a multi-day event, which I believe had about 7 starting flights. Initially, there were 3,247 entrants, and we find ourselves on the final table with the final 9 players. Our payouts for this event, as that is the most important thing that we want to be talking about, our first place is taking home 3.5 million Hong Kong dollars. That's 461,000 US dollars. Second place taking home 2.5 million Hong Kong dollars. That's a 329,000 US dollar equivalent. Third place will be taking home 1.8 million. You can tell I really like saying million. It's a treat to get to say million. I think the only other time we're going to get to say million is probably for the main event itself. 1.8 million for third. That's 234,000 US dollars. Fourth place taking home 1.286 million Hong Kong dollars. That's $167,000. Fifth place will be taking home 917,000 Hong Kong. It's 119,000 US. Sixth, 653,000 Hong Kong dollar, 84,000 US. Seventh, 465,000 Hong Kong dollar, 60,000 US. Eighth, 332,000 Hong Kong dollar is 43,000 USD. And ninth place will be taking home 236,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is 30,000 US dollars. A little bit about our players coming into this final table. Our chip leader, Luis Eduardo. I can get the full name somewhere. We'll just call him Luis Eduardo for now. Has been playing for a fair bit. He's playing kind of mid-stakes poker, so this is probably slightly on the higher side of the buy-in, but we have seen that the Brazilian players are playing very well in these World Series of Poker events. So despite the fact he doesn't have a huge resume in terms of scores, he does have a huge chip stack, 2-1 chip lead over second place. So we're definitely going to want to keep an eye on him. Alan Shine is an American pro who's been playing since the early 2000s and has over $1 million in earnings. I think about 1.2 or 1.3 million coming into this final table. Nickname is the Cockroach. Third place stack, Edwards Kudrayavev. No real info on him, not too much to talk about. Same story with our fourth place stack, Wen Hao Peng. Couldn't really find much info on him. Vladis Tamasauskas, you will recognize from a previous final table review that we did on the Gripsed Poker Training YouTube channel. Had a decent score there, played a very solid game of poker. In seventh place, Alexandros Theologis, nickname is the Sheriff. Solid player as well. Eighth place, Devanshu Kurana, absolutely no info on him whatsoever. Couldn't find anything. In our ninth place player currently, Kunal Bhatia, the short stack, you will also recognize from a previous final table review we did here on the channel, where he cashed for about $200,000. So he's already got some heat coming into this World Series Poker final table, and being the short stack, we may see him go for a reshove here with Ace Jack. Luis Eduardo is going to be opening a lot of pots with the chip lead. We saw him open the Ace Deuce off, but that was reasonable being on the button. And we saw him opening the Jack 10 off. Now we see him opening the 9-7 suited. So he's really going to be widening his range with the chip lead at the start of this final table, especially with Kunal and Devanshu, the short stacks, being here in play. Welcome everyone to the stream from Twitch and from YouTube. Glad you guys could join us tonight and hope that you are having a wonderful evening. We are in for a treat tonight with this final table review once again with some big money up top. This will be the second final table we've reviewed in as many days, where first place is getting almost $500,000 USD. If you guys have any questions about any spots, Luis Eduardo Asuncao Garla, that's a lot of names. that we're going to have to remember. We're going to call him Luis Eduardo because it's a little bit easier than doing 4 names. But, you know, the Brazilian boss man, the Brazilian big stack. He's the guy who we're going to keep our eye on. We see Kunal fold ace-10 offsuit there. Important to be able to make that fold with ace-10 offsuit, just as it's important to be able to make that fold with king-jack offsuit and to recognize an early position. You're looking more for hands like ace-jack and better, king-queen and better. And in some cases, you might even fold king-queen offsuit and ace-jack offsuit when there are ICM implications in play. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or you just want a little shout out, say a little something in the chat and I got you. Shout out to the one, shout out to Bubba Watkins, who says, ooh, this is pretty exciting. What's up? Thanks for the free training, dude. Been using it on ACR and doing great. Won my first 50K guaranteed tournament. Congratulations, Bubba Watkins. That is awesome. Glad the MTT training program is paying off. That's probably about an $8,000 score right there. All right, Edwards, Jack 10 offsuit on the button. Probably going to find the raise here. The question is, how is Luis Eduardo going to play it? He could flat with ace-7 suited. He could also 3-bet with ace-7 suited. He is going to go for the flat call. And this is a board that's actually going to favor the big blind's range. When we think about the hands that the button is opening and the hands that the big blind is defending, big blind is going to have more of the 6-3s and 5-4s and 4-2s and all these kind of low cards here. So Luis Eduardo probably going to play this spot a little bit aggressively, given the opportunity. If it goes check back, he'll probably be firing on the turn to a big amount. And facing a bet, we may see a check raise here with the gut shot. Goes for the check call. Decent card to lead on here. Again, it gives him an open ender, so he has improved, and this is a board that favors the big blind's range over the buttons. But he does have the showdown value with ace high. Doesn't necessarily need to risk getting raised on this hand. He can just happily take it to showdown. But unfortunately for him, having not taken an aggressive line earlier in the hand, he did allow his opponent to river top pair, and he's going to be losing this one. Expect we'll see Edwards make a bet. He can get value from all pairs on this board. Question is, will Luis make a hero call with ace high? Time will tell. Shout out to Selpat for doing the research and looking up our man's full name, Luis Eduardo Asuncao Garla. Wish I could do that, Garla, but I just never developed that kind of way of doing the accent perfectly because, you know, I learned Spanish later in life, and that's Portuguese, which I have no experience with. Edwards goes for the value bet. Luis Eduardo Asuncao Garla makes the laydown of the ace high. Calls when he has the best hand and throws it away when he has the worst of it. All right, raise from early position from Wenhao Peng. Probably going to see a defend here from Kunal Bhatia. I think we'll just see a flat call here. If he moves it in pre-flop, he's only going to get called by hands that have him in bad shape. He's getting nice odds to see the flop, and he can just call, look to flop a king or a queen, and in the cases where he doesn't, he can simply check fold as he did there. Were they deeper stacked, he'd probably take one off there to go for the gut shot, but with them being as shallow as they were, he did not want to risk more of his chips in that spot. He went Hao Peng, opening Jack 9 suited under the gun, and Alan Shane making an interesting flat call here from early position with King Jack offsuit. He must have some kind of read that Wenhao is a very loose player to call with a hand as, I want to say weak as King Jack offsuit, but it's pretty loose to be playing an offsuit King Jack versus an early position raise. But we may also see that Alan is just a loose player as we see him limping in with Queen 10 offsuit as well. Either he has a specific read on Wenhao that he wants to play more pots with him, or he action's going faster. I gotta slow this down. that's just a bit too fast. Or he's just a very loose player who likes to play a lot of pots, and with the second place stack feels that got lots of incentives to get involved. Heads up, this is going to be a longer final table than our previous one, so brew up your coffee or crack open a brewski or put the popcorn in the microwave, whatever it is you want to do. Put on some tea, roll up some tobacco. We are in for a long final table this evening and a nice learning experience as well. little bit of Rag City on this one. Devanshu could possibly push here with Queen 4 suited, but with the potential, implications of just potentially laddering up, getting that extra 100K Hong Kong, or about 12,000 USD. Devanshu's not going to want to take the higher variance routes. And with him having, 11.5 big blinds, he's not quite in desperate territory as he would be if he had, say, 6, 7, 8 big blinds or so. Alexandros not going to play a small pair from early position. Our sheriff of the table. Oh, maybe that's why they gave him the nickname the sheriff. That is a good avatar for him. And Luis Eduardo going real light here, opening the ace blocker. He's going to get jammed on by Kunal Bhatia once again. Our double final tableist from this year's World Series of Poker already. And we're not even halfway through the series on GG Poker. So we may be seeing Kunal Bhatia making 3, 4, 5 final table. Devanshu burning some time bank for some unknown reason. Don't think he's thinking about doing a randomizer play with Queen 6 offsuit. And also the blinds go up based on number of hands, not based on amount of time. So there's really no reason to be tanking here. Get this out of here and this out of here. Cool. Kunal gets the reshove through and he's up to 7.7 million, 15 big blinds. Second from the bottom now picks up ace king suited. This is likely just going to be an open shove on a shallow stack like this. Even up to like 18 blinds, you can conceivably just open shove with a hand like ace king suited that's happy to take down the pot pre-flop, and if called wants to see all 5 cards, and that may still get action from ace queen when making a shove of 15 blinds. But it's, if he had a big pair, he may want to go for a small raise there, but with ace king even being suited, he's quite happy to take down the pot pre-flop and not have his opponent take a good price in the big blind versus a min raise, maybe miss the flop and not only miss out on picking up the 2.5 bigs, but also lose 2 bigs in the process, which is, fairly meaningful when you only have 15 bigs to start the hand. Allen going to open up with 6s. Edwards could go either way with ace queen here. With ICM considerations, he may be more inclined to flat rather than 3-bet. See that? They're 2 of the biggest stacks in the tournament, 2nd place and 3rd place. So Edwards really didn't want to 3-bet here and risk getting 4-bet by the bigger stack here and put into a very awkward spot. Speaking of awkward spots, pretty tough to hit board, 10-8-10. Edwards still beating the same hands he was beating pre-flop, the ace jacks, the king queens. Still behind the pocket pairs, but he did pick up a couple more outs against those pairs. 8s would also make him the best hand. He's going to check call 1. He checks again. Will we see a sizable bet here from Allen? Nope, he's going to check behind, and the river gives quad 10s to both players. Edwards with the ace kicker. That is the nuts on this board. 4-of-a-kind 10s with an ace kicker has 4-of-a-kind 10s with, well, Allen's actually playing the board here with 4-of-a-kind 10s with an 8 kicker. That 6 does not do anything for him in this situation. So I think... actually, it's interesting. Edwards could go bluff catch mode. What he does. And Allen going to check behind wisely. Not throwing any chips after that one. Basically just loses a coin flip for an open and a continuation bet. Now Kunal. Awkward stack size for pocket 8s. Really awkward stack size for pocket 8s. Does have enough chips that he could min raise, but maybe doesn't really want to min raise when he's only got 18 bigs. Kind of a lot of chips to open shove with 18 bigs. So we'll see how he plays it. Feels like a hand that's too strong to fold, so he's going to come in for the min raise, but not it's not a dream spot by any means. Allen coming along with ace queen. We may see Edwards come along here as well. This is kind of the perfect spot to overcall with a pocket pair. You've got a raise and a call ahead. I think the only issue is that Kunal's not really deep enough for Edwards to think he has the odds to go for it. But technically, he does have the odds to strictly play for set value. He's getting 3-1 immediate, only needs to get another 4 million in post flop. Kunal has twice that much, and Alan has much more than that. Kunal having the best hand on the flop, but going to be in a pretty difficult spot. Tough to get this hand to showdown, but he has managed to do so. Alan happy to check it down with ace high. Kunal rivers a set. He knows he definitely has the best hand here. News 3003 says, hey, Evan, just wanted to throw in a little thank you for your very instructive streams. I learned a lot from them and the great MTT strategy guide. That's the one that you guys can get for free as part of the WSOP training bundle as well. Keep up the good work. Here is to hoping that you bink a bracelet soon. Would be well deserved. Thank you so much, News 3003. I really, really appreciate that. And I'm with you, man. Let's hopefully just bring that fire this weekend. And in our first kind of Team Grips shared bankroll event, come out with the gold. See, Alan is bringing a limping strategy to the final table. We've seen that on many of our other reviews. So you know that it's not fishy to be limping. It's just important that if you're using a limping strategy, you're limping the right hands. Alexandros pocket kings. We go for a raise here. And Ignacio Moran, also known as Curandero, thinking what to do with his pocket eights here. You want to call, try to see a flop through ace. He sure does. Alan comes along. It's a gut shot for Ignacio. Nothing for Alan. And Alexandros still with the overpair. A lot of chips out there in the middle. And this lead is super funky. I guess we're going to be seeing some very creative play from Alan Shine. He is an old school player. And he's managed to freeze Alexandros here. Alexandros normally probably would have fired a continuation bet for a significantly larger amount than 500,000. Now Ignacio is going to get to see the turn for the right price here. Getting over 12-1 on a call. Pocket eights. He's going to take a turn. Now has an open-ended straight draw. But if he were to river the jack, Alan would actually have the nut straight. And now Alan coming out with a really large bet and putting a ton of pressure on Alexandros. He's representing a flopped set, or yeah, I guess he's really representing a flopped set here, a two pair, with a hand that he limp called pre-flop and decided to lead the flop and now bet big on the turn. What an awkward spot for Alexandros facing this line. You know, when you can see the cards, kings clearly absolutely crushed, but when you can't see the cards and you're in a three-way pot on a board that's getting quite connected here, you're facing a min bet followed by a massive lead. It's kind of hard to continue with just one pair, even a pair of kings. And we do see Alexandros make the laydown. And this is an incredible bluff by Alan Shine that gets through. Just mind-blowing, and showing you that sometimes you don't have to GTO. And sometimes you can fold ace-10 suited under the gun on sub-10 big blinds because there are a whole bunch of monsters waiting to snap call. You're all in. Some serious awareness with Devanshu Kurana there. Wow, I'm still just very wowed by that bluff from Alan Shine there. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch this guy play. For sure. Got a raise from Vladis. Alexandros says, let's see three. King, queen suited. Been all debating if he wants to get involved with a suited king as well. He does. But I do not think either of them, any of them will be seeing the flop. Wenhao coming in for the 40 big blind jam. Well, 30 big blinds effective. No messing around here. I think that a smaller size maybe better. He's still going to get action from the big pairs and the ace kings, and he's giving his opponents room. He's also giving himself odds to have some bluffs in his range. You know, if he makes it 5 million here, he can have some bluffs, or 4.4 million, he can have some bluffs. But when he goes all in here, he's really probably not going to have any bluffs for 30 effective. But maybe he's not concerned about balance. And from what we've seen so far on this final table, this may not be the most GTO1 that we are going to see. One is certainly going to go through. Is Bogos asked, am I in USA and able to play for real money? I am in Canada, but I am partnered with a US friendly site. !ACR in the chat if you want to get in there, play for real money. Currently, USA players cannot play on GG Poker, but they do have some options out there. Shamkuli, I don't know if the other players are doing the, I mean, they probably are, but I don't know for sure if the other players are doing kind of the final table pre-work that we're doing, where they're Googling everyone and looking up their hand in mob. I mean, they probably are, because it's a lot of money. But yeah, I don't even know what to say of that play other than just wow. I don't know how, but wow. Yes, that's correct, Bogos. Yes, you can. Hello, Fozzie Poker. Welcome to the stream. Glad you can join us once again for another exciting final table. Looks like we have quite a few people coming into the stream. Now, if you guys are just tuning in, we are railing the final table from event number 55, an $8,000 Hong Kong dollar buy-in event where the players are playing for 3.5 million Hong Kong dollars. And, you know, the usual, that World Series of Poker golden bracelet. If you're wondering what these numbers are in USD, just divide by 8 and you will get the USD equivalent. All players here have flopped a gut shot and some overs, with Wen Hao Peng and Alan Shine both having backdoor flush draws as well. Little bit of a loose open from Edwards here, but he does have one of the bigger stacks, so it is somewhat justifiable. Welcome, Huge Crumble. Good to see you again. Glad you enjoyed the stream last night. Thanks for the sweet comment on YouTube, by the way, man. Really, really appreciate that. See Edwards firing a C-bet. Wen Hao Peng calls with the gut shot and the backdoor draw. He now has a backdoor flush draw to go with his gut shot as well. Unless Edward bets gigantic, Wen Hao Peng is going nowhere. Question is, will he now bet when check to put pressure on hands like Edward has, and also to put some pressure on a hand like pocket sevens or pocket eights, which even if it check calls the turn in this spot, what's it going to do on the river? What Wen Hao Peng is doing here is he's going to attack the part of Edward's range that is ace high, that's going to be folding to a bet here. And versus the parts of Edward's range that are pocket pair or maybe queen king that opted to check here, he is giving himself the right price to continue here, right? He's putting in 2.3 million, and if Edward calls, there's going to be 12 million in the pot. So he's got the right price just based on his flush draw alone, not to mention his gut shot. And also, because he is betting here, he is keeping his range uncapped and keeping, hands like pocket fives, pocket fours, pocket twos in his range, so that he can also consider firing a multi-street bluff on the river. So this bet here serves many purposes in terms of getting a fold immediately, giving himself great odds on his draw anyway, building the pot for that draw with a semi-bluff, also giving him the option to continue barreling on the river to take Edwards off the middle portion of his range. So nice play here by Wen Hao Peng. That's probably just going to take the pot down now, but I feel it's very valuable to talk about all the merits of the bet rather than just one. Maximizer asks if the Indian guy folded ace 4 on the button. The button's over here, but maybe if it was ace 4 offsuit. Yes, Bogos, you can play for real money on that site, my friend. Check it out, man. It's a good time. Good time. Probably just gonna need some BTC to get started. Kunal Bhatia opening with pocket nines. He's gonna get it through. Emuin says, what up, Grips? I took down my biggest score ever last Sunday, $8.4 thousand. Been smiling ever since. Wow. Congratulations, Emuin. That is so awesome. Always happy to hear about students finding success on the virtual felts. I know that feeling of getting a big tournament score. It really is the best. Yes, Bhatia again, man. Is it the third final table? It's at least the second, man. Kunal is in there, man. He's putting together a very strong performance. Maximizer poker. I see you said Mexican. There are no Oh, Ignacio. Ignacio over here. Gotcha. Ignacio. Pocket jacks here. He wasn't in the hand, so I was kind of confused who my man was talking about. Wen Hao Peng calling with pocket fives. Not going to continue on this board. Interesting, he calls with the fives here, but folds the 10-9 suited the previous hand. Luis is open. Maybe he's being selective of the players he gets involved with, not wanting to do battle with the chip leader, but happy to get involved with the shorter stacks. Welcome to the stream, Vulcan. Just chilling out, watching another World Series of Poker final table. Watching the Brazilians do their work. They do. Watching Kunal Bhatia make another final table. And watching some crazy, wild, creative play from Alan Shine. And that's one of the things you'll typically find when someone plays looser ranges pre-flop. They need to find something to do with all those weaker hands in their range to win pots. And that's why they'll get in there with these really creative, sometimes, insane seeming bluffs. And just it's really fun to watch. I imagine it's a little more stressful to play. You're kind of always living on the edge. But maybe, he's a bit of an adrenaline junkie and he's into that kind of thing. Edward opening with ace-3 offsuit. Alexandros, sub 20 bigs, may just put it all in here. Got 17.5 big blinds, a very strong hand, ace-jack. We know that Edwards is a loose opener. Got 3 players to get through. It's still a reasonable amount, but not too many. He is going to take the spot. And he's going to get this one through easily. We do see he didn't quite go all in. I think this is just to make the math a little bit confusing for Edwards. It's actually interesting. He chose a size that gave Edwards what looks like almost 2-to-1 on a call. So maybe he really wants the call here rather than wanting a fold here. Nice play by Alexandros, the sheriff. Theologus. Oh, man. God love water. It really is the best. My old roommate Greg Merson one day told me, he's like, yo, Schlev, do you know what's the nuts? I said, what's the nuts, man? Like water. Water's the nuts. True that, man. Water really is an incredible thing that we have in this life. Kunal looking for a cheap flop with King 7 suited. He is not going to get one. Wen Hao Peng, big hand in the big blind. Shoots it up to 5x, and he's going to be taking that one down. No contest. Is Edwards going to open again with ace-4? It is on a short stacked big blind. We have seen that he likes to raise his ace blockers. He's not going to take it. Devanshu definitely going to be shipping here over Wen Hao. It's pretty funny he was using his emotes there. Don't know if that was supposed to be a reverse tell or a tell. And took it down. Luis Eduardo opening with ace-3 suited. Kunal in an awkward spot here with ace-10 suited. It's a fairly strong hand, especially against a very loose opener like Luis. He does have 4 players to get through, though. It's a bit more than Alexandros had the previous hand. And there is one shorter stack. We may see Kunal put the chips in here. We may also see him pass on the spot. If there's a player to reshove on, this is the player. Luis is definitely going to be opening on the looser side. And with Kunal having an ace in his hand, it's decreasing the chances that Luis has an ace. But Kunal, going to go with the flat here in position. Just a flat call, taking the lower variance approach, perhaps. Curious what he'll do facing a bet on this board. He had the best hand pre-flop. He still has the best hand on the flop. But it's not really a board that improved him. 1 diamond for a backdoor flush draw. No pair of aces. No pair of tens. I think from what we've seen from Kunal on previous tournaments, he's probably going to fold. Indeed he does. Oh, off of 17 bigs, he did have room to make a flat. Probably doesn't have room to make another one. But he did choose to do it against the right player, someone who's opening very loose. And if he had flopped a 10 or an ace or diamonds, definitely would have been getting involved there. And we did see that if he flopped an ace, he would have got quite a lot of value. Ignacio coming in with the raise, pocket jacks. Wenhao Peng once again wanting to get involved. And Alan Shine. See? Good awareness. Just overcalls with the tens. No 3-betting from him. No looking to build a big pot against these guys. He's just happy to take it to the streets, take it post, see what develops. See a bet and a call. 2 calls. Everyone to the turn. Wenhao is in 3rd place. Alan in 2nd place. Ignacio in 1st place. But we do know Alan has moves, and he's going to go for a min bet here, maybe looking to define his opponent's ranges a bit more, maybe figuring if Ignacio just calls that he's somewhat capped, and maybe Alan can fire a big bet on the river, try to take this one away. Would be pretty wild to see him go for another 5 million chip bet. He's only going for 1 million, so what he's doing with this line is potentially getting some value, but getting his hand to showdown as cheaply as possible. So rather than facing bigger bets from these guys, you know, 5th pot, quarter pot, 3rd pot, half pot, he is going for a small bet here. And he gets the best hand to fold for 1 million. And wow, another extremely creative line from Alan Shine. And Ignacio is probably quite upset with himself right now. He folded getting 8-1 on the river. Figured Alan must have an ace to make that play. Sees the bad news. And Alan Shine is up to 2nd place. 32 million in chips. Steady building with some extremely unorthodox play. This is some of the most street poker I have ever seen, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. Yeah, Hypnotic K called it, man. Just put his opponents in an extremely awkward spot. Speaking of awkward, Vladis Tamasauskas raising up the Alan Shine limp with King 9, not realizing how strong Alan is in this spot. They've both flopped a pair. Vlad is probably going to play it defensively, whether that means a small bet on the flop or a check call. He's almost certainly not playing for stacks here, unless he improves on a later street. I'll be approaching it cautiously. We see him go for about quarter pot bet on the flop. Alan with the snap call. Vladis starting to get a little bit concerned here. Is still beating club draws. Is still ahead of straight draws. Worse 9s, but behind the aces. And the biggest portion of Alan's range is going to be ace X compared to those other hands. Just so many more offsuit aces that he's going to play than there are suited hands and suited connectors that he's playing. Because if you run all the combinations of hands that are clubs, well, you have all the other suits that he's folding, and they're just way more combinations of offsuit cards than there are suited. There are 12 combinations of offsuit for every 4 combinations of suited, and then only one of those suits is continuing. So that's about a 12-to-1 ratio of combinations that are offsuit hands likely to be aces compared to the draws that Alan could have. So he's way more weighted towards having a pair of aces. And with Vladis having 9 himself, that decreases the chances that Alan has something like 9-10 suited, Jack 9 suited. So see if Vladis can just drop it here. From what we saw in the last final table he was on, I'm pretty confident he's going to make the fold here. He can sense what's going on here, sense where his opponent's at. Take his time, think it through. All the combinations. Do the mental Flopzilla. See what the internal solver says. Beating the Jack 10s, Queen 10s, 8 7s, 9 10s. Clubs, backdoor hearts, but in very bad shape against the pairs of aces. Probably just asking, would Alan limp an ace on the button, or would he raise all his ace-x hands on the button? That's the big consideration. If the answer is that Alan would always raise his aces on the button, then Vladis is in pretty good shape here most of the time with King 9. But if he's capable of limping an ace, which we know he is, it's going to be a lot of hands that have Vladis in very bad shape. Yes, Vulcan, that's correct. Last hand, that would have been considered a blocker bet from Alan. That's exactly the name of that bet. Good job. Alan is really fun to spectate, but his poker level thinking is too high for me, I guess. Or maybe you're too high for his poker thinking right now. I know at least a couple of our viewers are going to be in that boat. That is really thinking it over here. Speed this up a little bit. Lockdown. He finds the folds. Want to wait it out. See if maybe you could get a live tell on Alan or something. I'm just kidding. We're obviously getting no live tells. Online poker. Luis, gonna come with 7-9 suited again? He might. But with him folding, Devanshu certainly going to ship it in here with ace-jack suited. 10.5 bigs from middle position. Easy push. Easy push. Shortest stack in play. Oh, interesting. He goes for the smaller raise size. Not sure why he would do that. He's inviting the big blind to come in here. And on a sub 10 big blind stack, you'd probably just want to take it down pre-flop, but Anshu certainly having his reasons for doing what he does. Everybody does. Noose, I'm pretty sharp, man. I know my fellow poker viewers, man. I know my fellow poker fans. Who likes to do a little poke and toke? Little token poke. Final tables are more fun when you're a little elevated, right? As long as you're watching. If you're elevated while you're playing, that's probably going to be pretty challenging and pretty nerve-wracking. Feel into your sensations a little bit more. Realize how nervous you are when you're playing for 3.5 million Hong Kong dollars. That's how I'd be feeling. Anyway, Edwards against Eduardo. Raising with 9-5 suited. We actually don't need these. Don't need the headphones. No music. I don't. We had the headphones there. You can rock without them. Just a habit, I guess. All right, interesting spot here. Ignacio with ace queen. Wenhao with 10s. I think we're more likely to see a flat than a 3-bet, but Wenhao surprises me here. Going for the 3-bet and putting the pressure on Ignacio. Very tough spot for Ignacio now. You're facing an under the gun +1 3-bet. Ace queen kind of shrivels up at that point. he is going to fold that hand. Wen Hao Peng. Gotta imagine was 3-betting there with the intention of calling the all-in. Maybe he did the 3-bet there because he didn't want to invite other players to come along. Wanted to have the best chance of just playing the pot heads up or taking it down pre-flop. Yeah, and earlier Devanshu, it may look stronger to min-raise instead of shoving, but the hands that are going to call a shove are still probably going to continue versus a min-raise. I think he's really just risking the big blind, seeing the flop, taking a cheap price, and potentially getting out flopped. Edwards with queens against Eduardo again. Queens versus tens. For Edwards, of course, depending on what the flop will bring. Oh, shout out to Baron 1A coming in with the 5 months. Hello, everyone. Hello, Baron. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate it. Love having you aboard. The Edwards flopping top sizzler. Queen, queen, queen. He's going to check it here. He's got the board kind of, what's the term we use? What is the term? Crippled. He's got the deck crippled here. In that it's hard for Luis to have something that can give him action on a queen 7 deuce board. He's got all the queens. There's only 1 queen left in the deck. 7 isn't going to call 3 streets. So I like the check here on the flop from Edwards. I like the check on the turn too. He's got the spade covered. Probably figured if Eduardo had a hand that was given multiple streets, he would have started betting earlier. So he's giving him a chance to bet at it. And now it's gone checked twice. He's going to go for a value bet on the river to get paid by a hand like tens. Jack suited. Bit of anything. He's not going to give any action post-flop. Edwards gave him the chance to. May have been able to get 1 bet if he fired a continuation bet. But I like his reasoning for checking on the flop. Maybe just unfortunate for him that a jack came on the turn and put 2 overcards to Luis's pocket tens. All right, Kunal with pocket sevens. Another interesting spot. He does have a good stack size for moving in. The difference is, before it was Luis opening, who's a loose opener, and Edwards opening, who's a loose opener. Alexandros is not going to be opening a very loose range off 20 blinds here. So it is a little bit of an awkward spot with pocket sevens, but Kunal is going to take it, and I think we're going to see our first all-in confrontation at the final table. It's sevens for Kunal, ace-queen for Alexandros. It's a flip. No help on the flop for Alexandros there. He does have a flush draw going to the river, so an ace, a queen, or a heart would give him the win. A deuce is not going to do it. 3s and deuces with an ace kicker is going to fall to the 7s and 3s for Kunal. Wen Hao Peng with a little troll action there. And Kunal jumps his way up to 5th place, the power of winning all-ins. Now Alexandros is our short stack on the final table. Keep an eye on him, though. He is a very good player, hailing from Greece, but playing from the United Kingdom. He's not going to punt this away. He's not going to blow it. He knows how much is at stake, not just the money, but the prestige, the World Series of Poker bracelet. The pressure's on now. Blinds up 300, 600,000. He's got 5 bigs. King, queen, certainly going to be strong enough to move all in here. We have a question from the Twitch chat. Scripts, does your triple threat theory work for cash also, or only MTT? The triple threat theory works for all forms of poker. It is the foundation of poker. When you aim to play most of your hands in position with the betting lead and with the right hands, you're going to have a lot of things working in your favor and going to have the best chance of success. Now, obviously, you can't have all 3 of those things all the time, but you generally want to have at least 2 of them working in your favor. And when you start by playing the right hands in position, ideally, or when getting the right price, pre-flop, it's going to be much easier to play post-flop correctly. You're basically setting yourself up for success by following the triple threat. How often do you think he should be folding king, queen on that last hand? Never. He should always be moving all in there. with king queen. And what do I think about the 7-7 reach? I said it's a close spot, but it's one of those spots where you're the shortest stack or one of the shortest stacks, and it's a good opportunity to pick up chips. And sometimes you just got to force a flip. Kunal, you know, he wants to ladder up a little bit, but he's probably more interested in those top spots. You know, that 1.2, 1.8, 2.5 million Hong Kong dollar. And to get those top paying spots, you're going to have to take some chances. And having a medium pair against middle-ish late position open when you're on that perfect reshove stack size, you know, 12 to 15 blinds. That's just one of those spots. Just got to push and pray, you know, just close your eyes, gamble, hope it all works out. Alexandros takes the price pre-flop. He's willing to gamble off a short stack. Kunal does not. I'm a little surprised Kunal didn't just put him in on the flop here. It's only a pot size bet. He's got 2 overcards. Even if his opponent has outflopped him, he's getting close to the right price with his overcards. He moved all in on the flop. His opponent called. He'd need about 33% equity to break even. He's going to have about 24. And that's assuming he only has the 2 overcards. But instead he checks back. Alexandros makes a pair of 6s. And now he has the best hand. And Kunal, a tough spot. I guess he's just going to check it down. Take this thing to showdown. Alexandros finding the value on the river. He's got a stone cold read that Kunal is on ace high. Figures what other hand would he check? 2 streets here. Down. Wow, gets the value on the river. Nice thin value bet. Wen Hao Peng opens. Luis Eduardo defends king queen suited. Flops a flush. That is a heavy favorite against the overpair of Wen Hao Peng. Gonna go for a check raise or just a check call. Going for the check raise, looking to build the pot now. Wen Hao with the snap call. A lot of players just fold pocket 8s in this spot because even if they have the best hand on the flop, if their opponent's check raising them with just, you know, the king of spades or something and 2 overcards, they're in pretty, equity-wise, they're in pretty bad shape. So it's a spot where Wen Hao facing the check raise, he's either flipping or basically dead. And so overall against that range, he's a pretty big underdog. Not one of those situations where he's either flipping or he's crushing his opponent. So because of that, a lot of players just fold to the check raise here on these spots. But Wen Hao, liking his overpair, in the best spot. Best hand right. Well, no. Looked like he had the best hand, but he does not. And see if he's going to be able to get away from it facing a turn bet here. Welcome to the stream, Alex Dad. Wen Hao really having a good old thing. Because the thing is, like, is Luis check raising 6-7 offsuit? Maybe. 5-4 offsuit if he has it? Maybe. But even if he is, those are the only hands that Wen Hao's beating. And he's not beating them by a lot in terms of equity. In terms of odds, basically a flip. So the one thing he had working for him was position here, but he was drawing completely dead. I like the check raise by Luis, getting that extra value. If the turn wasn't a queen, he might have even been able to get more. Wen Hao, willing to battle. Should see an open here from Edwards and probably a jam here from Alexandros. 12 big blinds, button versus cutoff. He's facing a loose open. He's not going to take the shove here. I am not sure why. He has fold equity. There's only one. I guess there's 3 shorter stacks, but not by much. And we know Edwards is very loose on the open. I'm quite surprised that Alexandros didn't take that spot there with King Queen. Gladys probably going to shove here for 12 bigs. Going to take it down. Now this similar spot, I think he's more likely to fold ace jack suited here than he was to fold king queen in the previous spot. But I'm getting surprised all over the place on this final table. So I don't know. Maybe he'll even find a flat call here with ace jack suited off of his 12 big blind stack and played in position. No, he's going to go for it with ace jack suited here. And Edwards is not going to be folding pocket jack. So Alexandros is going to be needing his 30% of the time to work this one time. And it does. Pair of aces on the flop. And way out in front, all he's got to do is fade a 1-outer to pick up that 16 million chip pot. And that is exactly what he does. Nice hand for Alexandros. Currently in 4th place after spiking that 3-outer. Takes it down. Big comeback from Alexandros. Doesn't give up. Uses the power of running good. Raise with the raise. Takes it down. Gladys, we see making the fold there with pocket threes. It's important to be able to fold those small pairs in early position, especially on shorter stacks. On this final table, we started with 3,247 players who all ponied up 8,000 Hong Kong dollars. That's 1,000 US dollars. Down to the final 9 players. This is the longest we've gone on any final table without having a bust out. No one wants that $250,000 Hong Kong dollars, 30,000 USD equivalent. You want more money, more money, more money. Kunal opening the small pair, getting 3-bet by Wenhao. He's probably going to fold here. Danger of opening that on the short stack. Get blown off it. Go to a flop. Again, it's tough. It's tough to play those small pairs post flop. Which is why a lot of players just fold them in early position, especially on shallower stacks. Edwards, Jack 7, offsuit open. Alexandros is going to take a flop here. A little bit of something for each player. An open-ended straight draw for Edwards. Nut flush draw for Alexandros. Checking. They're looking to check call a reasonable size bet. Now he turns a pair of jacks, which is currently the best hand. Drawing dead to a king. 8. Now with a club on the river, Alexandros is going to have the best hand. Imagine Edwards looking to put much in the middle here. Maybe calls a small bet, but I don't even know if he will. He may just be check folding here. I think facing that bet, he's probably just going to find the folds here. No need to be a hero. Second pair here. Clubs, losing to a king, losing to a queen. 2 pairs, losing to an 8. I mean, what bluffs does Alexandros really have here? Edwards can be beaten. All right. Devanshu going to use his one time here. Ace 10 suited. Popping it in with the 6 big blinds. No takers, no contests. No sweat. No problem. Takes it down. Will he go for another one here with Queen 10 suited off 9 bigs? Nope. Wanting to shove from early position. Those medium strength broadways. He only wants to get it in with the best of the best. See if it works out for him. The bold strategy, Cotton. Bold strategy indeed. Alexandros, ace 9. Open. Ignacio not going to. Not going to get involved. I see Luis again probably come in with a raise with Queen 10 suited. Kunal. We wanted to play this Queen 9 suited, but facing a raise from the big stack, he's going to think better of it and not get involved. And Luis almost up to 50 million in chips. All right, our players are on a 6-minute break, but we, my friends, are not. If you're watching on YouTube and you're enjoying the content so far, please hit that like button. Helps us a ton in terms of, riding the ranks of the YouTube streets. And it also lets YouTube know that you want to be notified next time I go live to do another one of these final table reviews, which will probably be sometime very soon. But we are going to get to the next portion of the tournament. Let's get in there. Also, if you guys want to play a home game with me, Sundays is the day. Every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. We have a $1.65 home game on America's Card Room, so the whole world can play. We also have a $5.50 high roller for those of you who are a bit more interested in higher stakes play. Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Stream usually starts at 5. Oh my God, that was too funny. We got to see that emoji again. We got to see that emoji again. Keep your eyes on Devanshu here. Keep your eyes on Devanshu. Wait, the thank you? No, but check out this next one that he puts up here. Check out this next one. My last hand, and he's got the chip rack like he's going to run away with it. Oh my God, it's so funny. This software is so good. Luis, 6-7 suited. Is he going to open this one? Last time Devanshu was doing this, he had the goods. This time he does not. And he's just going to get out of there. Wenhao, a big fan of the Negreanu emotes. TMC LBNK says, way ahead of you. He's smashing the like button for your boy E. Big fan of the content, and I'm a big fan of the love and support. All right, Devanshu has picked up pocket 8s here on 7 blinds. I do think he's going to call here. He is the shortest stack, and you don't generally like to call off when you're the short stack, but Ignacio is going to be moving all in with any pair here. We see he's got suited aces. He's going to have broadways. Devanshu's doing pretty well against that range with pocket 8s. So the chips should be going in the middle here. Maybe if there was some other player on the table with like 3 blinds, Devanshu could justify finding a fold, but this hand is very strong given the situation. I think he just needs to wait till everyone else runs out of their emotes, and then he'll probably get involved in this one. He does not. He folds pocket 8s in a spot where he was absolutely dominating. We see Devanshu playing quite conservative on this final table, but we couldn't find anything about him online, so maybe the money is quite significant. Maybe he's in off a satellite, and these ladders mean a ton to him, and there is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with the money being me. Oh, he says damn timer. I think he may have genuinely meant that, because I am extremely surprised to see him folding pocket 8s in that spot. It just doesn't make a lot of sense unless the money's extremely meaningful. And if it is, if he's in this tournament off, $100 satellite, and he's looking at one more spot as a $13,000 USD pay jump, like 130 times the buy-in that he's in for. Cool. That's reasonable. To know exactly how much of a mistake it was, we would have to run it through ICMizer. And we'd have to punch in all the hands. Maybe we can do that after we're done the final table. We have a lot of content to get through, so we're just going to keep blazing through it. Devanshu now maybe a little tilted, missing out on the 8th spot. He's going to be moving in with ace-4 offsuit here for 6 bigs. And he will be running into ace-queen for Alexandros, the sheriff, who has him dominated here. He's going to need a 4 and a 4 only to stay in the game. No help on the flop. Turn gives him a little more hope. Hearts would do it, as well as the 4 of spades, 4 of clubs. And is that the 4 of hearts? Makes a pair and the nut flush and doubles up to 8.4 million. Very lucky in that spot. I do honestly think that he made a mistake timing out with the 8s earlier, and that he just wanted to run it, get himself calm, cool, and collected, and ready to put the chips in the middle. And he just got screwed over with the timer there. Alexandros looking to limp in with 9-10 suited. Luis saying, if you want to play with me, you are going to have to pay, my friend. 4x the big blind. What do you say to that? Alexandros says, I'm good, man. You take it. You take it. That's exactly what he's going to do. If you guys are just tuning in right now, I'd love to welcome you to the stream and thank you for joining us. We are covering the final table of event number 55 from the 2020 World Series of Poker, brought to you by GG. Evan Jarvis from Grips to Poker Training, where my mission is to help become a better poker player so you can feel more confident, make more money on the poker table. This tournament started with, 3,247 players. We are down to the final 9, and we may be down to the final 8 after this hand. Kunal makes the hero call for 12 big blinds with queen 10 offsuit, and he is behind. The 60-40 underdog. He is live, but he's going to need a queen, a 10, or king on the river to survive. Can he find it? Looks like paint. And looks like pain for Luis. 1 card away from being out the door. Kunal and Devanshu both. Indian reps using some yoga fire to stay up in this game. A fade going out in 9th for 236,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is about 30,000 US dollars. And they are continuing their way up the tournament. So payouts for this event, if you're just tuning in, they are all above me in Hong Kong dollars, and the US dollar equivalents are 30,000 for 9th, 43,000 for 8th, 60,000 for 7th, 85,000 for 6th, 119,000 for 5th, 167,000 for 4th, 234,000 for 3rd, 329,000 for 2nd, and 461,000 US dollars for first place coveted golden bracelet. Alan Shine limping in. Luis Eduardo looking for an ISO raise here. Min raises, and Alan calls with the deuces. Top pair for Luis on the flop. He's going to check it back. Maybe induce some bluffs from Alan. We have seen that Alan is more than willing to put some chips in the middle, and Luis has probably gained awareness of that. Makes sense that he would check behind here, inviting Alan to take a shot at the pot, which he does. See if Alan has one more barrel in the clip. No, he does not. And this river will probably go check, check. Luis taking it down with pair of kings, 8 kicker. Hello to Brooks, friend of Peter 3Bet. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream tonight. Glad you could join us for some live streaming action. No delay. Final table coverage from the World Series of Poker. Always a good time. Devanshu. Get out of here. You're not playing Jack 10. Leave it between Wenhao and Alan Shine for round 3 that we've seen. These guys have probably gone 30 rounds leading up to this final table. And it is a pair and a nut flush draw for Wenhao, who fires a C-bet before his emoji even disappears. And Alan, not going to take a turn there. Just going to say on to the next hand. Go. Alexandros opening with ace-10 suited. Banshu not getting involved with king-queen. Versus late position opens, king-queen, great hand. Versus early position opens, unless you are dealing with the loosest of the loose, king-queen offsuit's usually going to be in fairly bad shape and is going to be best served by being pitched into the muck. Alan limping in. A little surprised he didn't just push, but we have seen that Alan is basically using a no raise strategy for this final table. Basically just limping his entire range in all spots. Just to keep the stacked pot ratio as deep as possible to give as much maneuverability post flop. See, he's coming in with another one of his patented min bets on the turn here, which puts Vladis in actually a fairly tough spot with bottom pair. Called twice. Alan going to give up, not having improved. And Vladis going to take this one down with bottom pair. And true to form, Alan is not going to be limping the very next hand. He does have some raises in his range. Edwards. Winning the big. Ace 9. Much for either player here. 3 overcards on the board to Alan's 6s. Gut shot for Edwards. Just going to get checked down here. As is often going to be the case when one player just holds, you know, a modest pocket pair and the other player is holding an ace high. All right, Vladis, how are we going to play this ace-10 suited? Is it a 15 big blind shove? Based on what we saw from the other final table, that's what we would expect from Vladis. And that's exactly what he's going to do. And it's cool we get to see some of the same players showing up on multiple final tables, and we can see, you know, we can predict the play style a little bit from inferring that what we saw in previous final tables is going to carry over to future final tables. And that's the same benefit of playing with the same player pool on a regular basis. If you're paying attention, you get reads on the style your opponents play, and then it's much easier for you to curate and create your strategies to take advantage of the style that they have or the mistakes that they may make. Vladis isolating with kings and Alan giving no action with ace-5. Also pretty cool to see Eduardo not feeling the need to peel out of the big blind there with ace-7 suited. Just happy to maintain his chip lead, wait for the next hand. No need to get involved and speculate when he's in such ending position. Alexandros with ace-10 on the button. This will probably be a smaller raise because it's for a more significant amount of big blinds. For 15 blinds, you can conceivably just open shove a hand like ace-10 on the button. But when you're up in that 20, 25 big blind range, it feels like a few too many chips to just be open shoving there. The risk to reward ratio isn't as favorable as it is when you have a shorter stack. What I mean by that is the reward is how much you're taking down with the blinds and antes. The risk is the amount of chips that you're putting in the middle. And when you have 25 blinds instead of 15 blinds, you're risking almost twice as many chips for the same reward. And you're also going to get called by stronger hands. So you're risking a lot more chips to win the same amount. And when you're called, you're in much worse shape. So it makes more sense to go for a small raise when holding a bigger stack to decrease the variance. Both players holding ace high. Kunal has the gut shots. 5. Alexandros high. Kunal's going to fire the bluff and take this one down. Alexandros not liking the look of that board with all those diamonds and all those low cards out there. Don't be afraid to bet your gut shots when your opponent checks behind. If your opponent checks behind and caps their range, and you see a board that is favorable for the big blind's range, a lot of those low and middling cards, don't be afraid to put a bet out there, especially if you have some kind of backup equity. You will be surprised at how often your opponent folds to that bet. And in some cases, think you have a sticky opponent, think about firing an overbet. Very happy with the result most of the time. And they had a lot of folds in those situations. Cards with jacks here, Alexandros with tens, and Wen Hao Peng, king queen. Gonna see a three-way flop, and it's top set once again for Edwards. Oh, we have Alexandros, the sheriff, in the chat. Welcome to Alex DOT to the chat. Real honor to have you here. This is the first time we've had one of the final table lists join us for the live stream. So very cool to see you here today. And congratulations on making this final table and getting the score, man. So far, we've seen some pretty solid play from you. We were very curious, actually, about the king-queen fold you made earlier when you were on the button and had about 15 bigs, maybe less, and Edwards opened the cutoff, and you opted to fold king-queen offsuit. We were very curious about why you made that decision, but then went with ace-jack suited a few hands later, facing an open from slightly earlier position from Edwards, where it got there against the pocket jacks. Any insights on that? Some players were saying ICM. I just thought Edwards was opening quite loose and that king-queen was a pretty good hand for rejamming and that you did have fold equity. You didn't have a ton. I think you opened a 1.2 million and you had like 7.2 or like 8. But that was the spot we've been most curious about for sure. Guys, can we get some props in the chat for Alex DOT? We have a World Series of Poker final table list with us in the chat today. Very cool. Losing money because cutoff isn't full enough better hands. Okay. Okay. Cool. So you thought that because nice run out here with the hearts. You thought that even though he's opening wide-ish, he's calling with a very big chunk of his hands that you were going to be running the cards most of the time rather than getting it through. So like I guess if you had like 3 or 4 more big blinds, you would have been more likely to take the spot, but since you were on the shorter side, you opted to just find the fold. Okay, I could see that. It was a spot where it didn't look like you had a ton of fold equity, but you did have a little bit. Yeah, you must have had about 12 big blinds, 11 or 12 big blinds. Gotcha. That makes sense. Alan Shine coming in with the limp once again with ace-9 suited. He's all about that creative play. Luis Eduardo. And raising it up with ace-8 suited here. Like we're going to be seeing 3 once again between these two. I'm Alan in much better shape. Does not catch anything on this board. Jack 4-7. Going to be check folding in that spot. He's keeping the size of the pots pretty small by using this limping only strategy though. Queen open on the wider side, using his big stack, getting his opponents to fold dominating hands like ace-9. Or not. Devanshu recognizing just how loose Luis is opening, and he's going to take the spot here. It's a close spot for Luis. Price not quite getting 2-1. And a pretty weak ace with ace-7. There are no worse aces that Devanshu is going to be reshoving here, so fold makes sense. Devanshu taking this one down. May get a little bit of action here. Alexandros, king suited. from early position. Devanshi with ace queen on the button. From his play style so far, yes, all makes sense. Great flop for Alexandros here. Top pair, top kicker. Devanshi gonna have a very narrow range for flatting pre-flop. Alex probably looking to get value from the big pairs that decided to flat rather than just moving it in. Small bet size makes a lot of sense there. It's like he has a strong enough hand that he could check on that flop, but it's a board that he's probably just going to bet majority of his range there for a small amount. Devanshi going to play this queen 10 or just throw it away. Hard to predict what this Devanshi guy is going to do, man. I can predict Edwards is going to reshove all in with that ace queen suited here on 20 big blinds. But Devanshi is really surprising me. Left, right, and center. As is Alan. As I said, this Asia multi-day events, 8,000 Hong Kong dollar final table. It's just absolutely wild. Taking his time. Maybe trying to feign that he's got a bit more thinking to do and a bit tougher of a decision than he really does. Maybe trying to get a little tell on Devanshi there. He's actually just going to call. I guess Devanshi's min raise is representing a stronger hand. He's got Edwards concerned, but I'm once again very confused why Edwards didn't just put the chips in the middle there with the hand as strong as ace. Must really have been fearing that Devanshi was setting the trap with a monster hand with that min raise there. On a favorable flop for him, he is now up to 9 million, 15 bigs. We have still yet to lose a player from this final table. Our big stack opening under the gun, Alexandros with a very playable hand in the big blind. Is going to take a flop and probably tread cautiously post flop. Don't make final tables by overplaying top pair. So we'll probably just see Alexandros check call one. If he faces another extremely large bet from Luis, maybe throw it away. He would be beating flush draws that decide to two barrel. That's pretty much it. See what he goes with. Find the fold. King Jack, or will he take one more card off? Keeping Luis honest. Gonna go for full value. Cautious about a deuce. No fear of a 7. Alexandros would only have that with maybe 7-8 suited hearts. He's gonna go for 3 streets of value. Alexandros running the combos. Are there enough 3-barrel bluffs? Jack is good. Beating any of the hands that Luis is betting for value. Luis isn't playing a pair of queens like this. King 10 offsuit like this. Alexandros. Alexandros, what did you range him to 2-barrel on the turn? Did you feel that he was opening wide enough and putting enough pressure that he's going to be even wider than just King X and flush draws? Like, do you think he's the type who would just straight up 2-barrel an air ball here? Hence the call. Yo, what up, DJ Shades? Glad you could make it to another review. Having a very good time tonight indeed, reviewing this 8,000 Hong Kong dollar final table. Alexandros does call to keep him honest here, and Luis is going to show him the bad news. Ace King going for 3 streets of value, and Alex Theo, who we have in chat, thinks on the turn he can be barreling very, very wide. He doesn't necessarily even have to have equity because he can be targeting the middle pairs and ace highs very easily with a second. Makes total sense. And we have seen that the Brazilians are willing to play very aggressively and barrel very frequently. So that makes total sense. that you opted to call him there on all 3 streets to keep him honest. But that's going to swing Alexandros back down to 6th place on 16.5 bigs. And Luis just continuing to build his chip lead. He's now up to 60 million in chips, over 100 big blinds, and that's 2.5x second place. And we're still 9-handed on this final table. Again, absolute insanity. We've been sweating this final table for over an hour, maybe an hour and a half now, and still we have yet to have a single elimination from it. Brazilianaire. That's what he's hoping to be by the end of this tournament, man. At least in terms of Hong Kong dollars, make that top 4 spots, he will be a Brazilianaire. Alexandros, after flopping the straight flush draw, turning 9s and 8s. Now rivers the flush. He's going to go for value. And Luis, again, he's been pretty disciplined in terms of the spots where he calls post-flop and pre-flop. He's opening a lot, but then being pretty... So far, it seems he's been being pretty reasonable and disciplined with his post-flop decision. Lines up again, 350,000, 700,000, which means our short stack Ignacio is going to be down to 6 bigs. Vladis Tamasauskis, one of our middle stacks, on 16 bigs. More than half of the remaining players have less than 16 bigs. 3 of the final 9 players have less than 25 bigs. And then you have the extremely wealthy Brazilianaire Luis Eduardo, Asuncao Garla. And GG would just like to let you guys know that if you want to play the Sunday Big 100 right now, there's a little bit of overlay. I have a feeling that in the 31 minutes they had remaining in late registration, they were able to pick up 36 more players. But maybe if they hadn't given out this friendly reminder, they wouldn't have filled that guaranteed. We may get our first elimination here. We'll see. Pocket 8s for Vladis. If it folds to him, he's got 14 bigs probably going in. But we know Wen Hao Peng is a looser player. He may decide that Queen 9 suited is a hand he'd like to get involved with. Let's keep in mind, big blind is a short stack. And Wen Hao is going to open, which puts Vladis in a very awkward position. Pocket 8s. Facing under the gun open on the short stack big blind. This is the player Vladis wants to outlast for that ladder. He is going to make the fold. I think Alexandros is going to be jamming here. 16 bigs. He knows that Wen Hao's loose. Ace King is a monster. He's going to put all the chips in the middle. He should be taking this one down without any confrontation. Wen Hao maybe was raising to save his twin shark pirate friend. Had he not raised there, Vladis almost certainly would have been all in with the 8s. Alexandros would have called, and Alexandros probably would have drilled at least 1 king on the run out. But we'll never know. We'll never know what could have been. Simply know that Ignacio is really in dire straits here on 4.2 big blinds. He's almost at the point in the tournament where he has no fold equity. And with Ignacio being so short, Luis is going to open even more hands because the players are going to want to outlast Ignacio. Except for Wen Hao Peng. He doesn't give a what? Straight 3-betting deuces here off 22 bigs. Ready to run the cards, I guess. He's put a third of his chips in the middle. More street poker from the Hong Kong High Roller final table. Oh, this is the Asia Championship. That's what it's called. This is the No Limit Hold'em Asia Championship. Alexandros holding ace 2 suited. Gonna let the big stack do what big stacks do. Jack 10 offsuit, taking it down. Shout out to Shamkuli for giving us the USD prizes as well. For anyone who's curious about those, they are available in Twitch chat. Got any mods available? Maybe we can even make an exclamation mark payouts command that will rattle those off for anyone who is Time defending from the small blind here with ace-7 suited. Vladis coming along too with pocket fives. It's top pair, top kicker for Luis. Put a value bet out here. Unlikely to get any action. We'll see any takers on this flop. But Wenhao, he would have had 2 pair. I really love that GG lets you like show your cards after. You can like throw your cards on the table when the table's done. Really very fun stuff. As we see Luis continuing to open an extremely wide range, which he will do until Ignacio is eliminated. And when there are other short stacks, he will continue to do that. But Vladis picking up queens here. This money is going in the middle. I'm betting the farm. Queens are jamming here for 11 bigs. And I'm betting the guest house that King 6 is folding. And Vladis is chipping up to 10.5 million. Ignacio now down to 3.8 bigs, and he's going to have to pick a spot to get it in soon. If he doesn't get a hand in the next 2 hands, he may be forced to call off in the big blind with any 2. Going to be very short at that point. After anteing in, probably going to be down about 3.5 bigs. Allen, ace queen. Like he's going to get it through. Edwards not having anything to do with that ace-6 suited. No way, he says. Ignacio has found his hand. Going to be ace-jack, all in for 3.5 big blinds. I think Devanshu's going to fold here. Too many players left to act. Alan Shine may make the call for the price. And actually, we may see Luis come along as well. It's only 1.4 million for him to get involved. He's getting 4-1. I don't think Edwards is going to get involved here. If he is, he would probably ISO shove. But, I mean, a raise here, Alan's going to be getting a pretty good price. And just because Alan called instead of min raising doesn't mean he doesn't have a strong hand. Could be laying a trap. So I think Edwards probably gonna fold after thinking this one over. But Luis will probably call for the price here. Nope. He says, all right, I'm gonna fold it. Too much possibility that one of the players hasn't dominated. In a heads-up situation, he almost certainly would have called, but 3-way, no. And Ignacio, right when I was about to say Ignacio was in pretty good shape. Turn on the 10 is going to say otherwise. And once again, Wenhao would have made 2 pair. But the important news is that Ignacio Moron has been eliminated in 9th place. He's taken home 236,000 Hong Kong dollars. It's 30,780 US dollars. We have had our first elimination from this final table, and now we are down to the final 8 players from a starting field of 3,247. Wenhao Peng flopping a flush draw with his king jack suited. Putting a continuation bet. Alexandros seeing 2 overcards to his pair of 7s, but he's not letting go. He says, I'm taking this one as far as I can. I'll see you on the river. And the river is a good card for Wenhao Peng. Alexandros considering a bluff, moves his opponent off a queen. Maybe. Wow. He does go for it. Wow. Alex, thoughts on this bluff? I mean, are you targeting queen jack here? Are you targeting specifically a king, king 10? Is it a specific read on Wenhao that leads to making this play? Choosing this sizing to maybe even try to target an ace because I think queen king is folding. Could be repping jack 10, but yeah. So Alex is saying he's currently at the bottom of his range. Makes sense. Yes, he does open very wide. And you're targeting his 9s, 10s, 8x, and queen x, which are all better hands. So there you go, guys. Great lesson for our friends in chat and our viewers on YouTube. He's not trying to get an ace to fold when he's bluffing here. He's just trying to get hands that are slightly better than his to fold. 8s, 9s, 10s, maybe a queen. So a lot of hands that are beating him that will fold to a bet. Alex thinking it's pretty unlikely he's going to be good at showdown with the pair of sevens, and it's one of the weakest hands he's going to have. So he uses the bottom of his range to bluff with. Generally, from a GTO perspective, that's what you want to do on rivers: is bet your best hands, bet your worst hands, and check the hands in the middle. Wenhao, this is a pretty tough spot. You're facing a massive bet. Can't beat queen, and wow, he is going to find the call though. Just a pair of kings. 18 million chips going Wenhao's way. He is now at 27 million, and Alexandros once again on a very short stack. Perhaps thinking he should have just folded on the flop, avoided all that variance. Maybe he's thinking, thought it was a pretty good bluff. Just unlucky that his opponent both had a pair of kings on the end and that his opponent found the call with a pair of kings. But we've seen Wenhao don't mess around. Wenhao is ready to battle anytime. Final table. Bhatia, pocket fives on the button. Gonna take a flop here. Again, a little surprised. Well, okay. Actually, I'm not that surprised. I was gonna say a little surprised that he didn't go for the reshove on his particular stack size. But we have some really short stacks here. Alexandros now only has 6 bigs. Devanshu has 10 blinds. Edwards has 11 blinds. Vladis has 14 blinds. Kunal's in 4th place with his short stack. And 4th place in the tournament is worth, 1.286 million Hong Kong, 234,000 US. That's a lot more than the $43,000 for 8th place. Kunal taking the lower variance approach of just flatting and going for a min bet on the flop when checked to fold out a live hand like that and also try to get to the showdown as cheaply as possible. Nice play there from Kunal. Picking up a few more chips, building his stack up to 21.4 big blinds, comfortably in 4th place. Anshu says, let's see 3 with Jack 6 suited. Alan Shine 7-4 off in the big. And with a flop flush draw, Devanshu gonna take a stab at it. He will take it down. Alan Shine had an absolute zip and pip on that flop. Easy pass for him. Kunal Bhatia. And that water's fresh spring water, guys. I don't know if they have it in Europe, but if you live in North America, findaspring.com. Help you find some incredibly delicious spring water. It's a life changer. You can get your hands on it. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Always worth the mission to harvest some goodness. Speaking of goodness, Kunal with Ace Jack opening up from the hijack here. Alan Shine going to defend from the small blind with Queen 10. On the 5-5-6 board, Kunal just going to min bet it once again, using that small solver sizing and continuing to chip up steadily. He's now up to 17.7 million, 25.4 bigs. Probably also recognize that Alan Shine is a player who's defending wider than most. A lot of players who would have defended from the small blind would have had a pretty strong range that Ace Jack isn't doing so well against. But that also makes sense for going for a small bet if betting. But Alan's the one player who's defending enough hands that folds there. Edwards trying to use some fake tells, reverse tells, trying to show some strength. But we know what Mike Caro said in the book of tells. Strong means weak, my friend. Weak means strong. Now the question is, will Vladis take the ace-3 suited semi-bluff spot on 13 bigs versus a cutoff open? It's a good hand for it. It's not a great player to do it against. We have seen the one open from Queen 10, but even if Vladis was watching this feed during the show, Queen 10 would not have, that hand wouldn't have shown up yet, so he wouldn't have known. And Devanshu has been playing pretty, I mean, I want to say he's been playing pretty tight, but he's also just made a couple of like random plays. Well, so hard to totally read what Devanshu is up to. We do know Luis is opening a lot of hands. We know Kunal is more than willing to get involved. That's how he picked up 200,000 in the previous final table he was at. Seeing if he can pick up some more. Wenhau's ready to battle. Allen's willing to mix it up. Alexandros willing to take those pot odds. 8 million in the middle. 2.5 mil behind for Alexandros. It is an Inder pair for Luis with a diamond draw, an Inder power for Wenhau with a diamond draw, the nut flush for Allen Shine, and ace high for Kunal, and a pair of fives for Alexandros. If it were heads up, I think we'd see Luis check call, but with there being a bet and a call, Luis might actually just drop tens right here, not bother taking a turn. There aren't a lot of good turn cards for him. And that gives Wenhau an 8 high flush. But he's probably feeling... I don't know if he's feeling anything, man. This guy acts so fast. He's like, I got a flush, man. Check call. Snap call. Call another one? Will he just let this one go? Okay, finds the fold on the river. Maybe figuring he's beating jack offsuit that calls the flop and then bets the turn. I don't know. Pretty ambitious call there by Wenhau. Lattice with tens off of 12.5 bigs. He's going to go for the shove. Alexandros very short here. Not necessarily ahead of Lattice's shoving range from the cutoff, but he is getting quite a good price here. Already having a small blind committed. There's a big blind out there in antes. Already 1.5 million out there. He's got 2 million behind. Effectively, he'd be putting in 2 million to play for a pot of 5.5 or 6 million. Need about 30% equity. Definitely going to consider it. He's the shortest stack by a significant margin. He does recognize he's not going to be ahead of the range often enough, and does find the fold. Looking to do some ninja maneuvers on his 3 big blind stack and see if he can find his way to ladder up at least a couple of spots. It'd be an extra 130,000 Hong Kong dollars to move up to second, an extra 300,000 Hong Kong dollars to move up to sixth. Sixth is getting twice as much money as 8th place, so it's pretty significant to last those 2 additional spots if possible. It'll be pretty tough though on 2.8 big blinds. We saw Ignacio was not able to do it. The Alexandros will prove the exception to the rule. Allen Shine doing his usual. I'm calling with a pair of fives. Lewis doing his usual, min raising to isolate. And Allen once again going outside the box, check raising with pocket fives on the king queen 10 board. He is so hood, this guy. It seems like he's looking to the spots and not really caring about his particular hand, because a lot of the spots we've seen him take for his bluffs, he just has absolutely no equity, but he's been able to successfully get them through. This one, for this sizing and this price, I think Luis will probably find the call. It's just too cheap. And Allen going to be losing that pot there. Just wow. Lattice with ace king. This money should be going all in. And I think Luis will find the call here with pocket tens. It's a pretty premium hand. 15 bigs should make the cut. He can easily afford it. Got 66 million. What's 10 million when you got 66? He's all in for 66 million. It's going to be off to the races. Ace king for Vladis Tamasauskas. Luis with pocket tens looking to fade the big ones. No help on the flop, no help on the turn. Vladis going to need an ace or king on the river, or he is once again going to be out the door a little earlier than he would have liked. He is going to be our 8th place finisher from Lithuania, taking home 332,158 Hong Kong dollars, US equivalent of $43,180. Alexandros finding the ladder, and we are now down to the final 7 players, and Luis Eduardo Asuncao Garla has an incredible chip lead on the rest of this final table. That's 78 million in chips. Alan is our 2nd place stack with 32 million. Wenhao with 3rd with 21 million. Kunal in 4th with 14 million, almost 15. I mean, you add those guys up to 66. Add in Devanshu's 74. Luis has almost half the chips in play. Not quite, but almost half the chips in play. And I think if he adds this 6 million here and takes away 3 from Alan, that might give him half the chips in play. Got 81 million. That's 116 bigs. The other players combined have... yeah, 113 bigs. So Luis has half of half of the chips in play with 7 players left. A pretty good spot to be. Welcome in Jackals TV. Jackals TV, and it's going to be round 17 between Luis Eduardo, Alan Shine here. A gut shot to the 8 for Luis. Gut shot to the jack for Alan. He's also got the overcards as well, so I don't think he'll be folding the flop. And there it is on the turn for Alan. The perfect card makes him the nut straight and makes Luis top pair. May bet it for value. Indeed he will. Half pot. Question is, will Alan spring it here or will he just check call? He's going to check call. Opts not to lead. Luis makes the 7 for the jack high straight, but he's not going to bet it. Alan going to take this one down. With all the wacky plays Alan makes, name the cockroach, I'm a little surprised he didn't go for a lead on that river. He is just full of surprises. I'm not really going to make an effort to try to put reads on Alan because he is just full of surprises every single spot. Run this one back more time. A little distracted by the chat there. So Alan limped in on the button with Jack 8 and then folds for no chips. I don't know why he wouldn't just min raise it and put Alexandros in. I mean, Alexandros has 2 bigs. And if you take him out here, you're making an extra 200,000 Hong Kong dollars. That's an extra 24,000 USD. Why not? But instead, limps in and then folds to the lead. Nice spot for Alex. Knows he doesn't have fold equity pre-flop because it's only one more big blind, but that he will have fold equity on the flop, and he does flop a gut shot too, so he's got some backup equity. Gets Alan to fold the best hand and built his way back up to 2.8 bigs, or 2.8 million. That's 4 big blinds. Chip leader having Alexandros way covered, so Alexandros may want a stronger hand than 9 high to fold here, to shove here. Be very selective of the spots he puts the last of his chips in the middle. See Alan once again and in with a limp. Probably see a raise here from Luis Eduardo. Went in for 4 bigs. Alan, does he ever limp raise? No, he's always just limp calling. D3 in position. And then limp calls with ace king. Gets a flop that is so unlikely to hit the pre-flop raiser's range and then just folds? I don't understand. I legitimately just do not understand. I cannot make any sense of what Alan's doing. The dude's been playing poker for 20 years, man. So he's got his plays, he's got his moves, and they've worked to get him this far. Already locked up 60K. He's probably gonna have some more money on the way. Second place stacks. So who am I to criticize? I'm just here to be confused by Alan Shine here. Maybe it was the fact that it was a chip leader against second place, but he's king. Position. Just don't know. Crumble says he's got to go. Thanks for tuning in, Huge Crumble. Yes, the replay will be available on YouTube for your viewing pleasure anytime you would like. Alexandros finds his spot to be the first in with Queen 10 and gets it through. And now Devanshu finds a pair blind versus blind. He's going to get his shove through. Now the pressure is going to be on Edwards in the big blind. Could be a spot where some chips go in the middle. He's sitting in the big for Edwards. King 10 suited for Wenhao. Pocket 7s for Allen. And Luis, the big stack, really wants to continue to chip up and apply maximum ICM pressure on everyone else on the final table. Going to keep Kunal out of trouble. Don't know if he's going to keep Wenhao out of trouble. And I'm starting to see why Kunal was willing to make the speculative calls pre-flop against Luis. Luis is just so loose. So loose. Edwards going to stay out of harm's way here. Really hoping that some of these other players will continue to do battle with each other, maybe felt one another, give them a chance to pick up real money thanks to the pay jumps. Crypto Sky Green, are you talking about Devanshu? Or are you talking about Edwards? I think you're talking about Devanshu, right? Yeah, Allen with the set, taking that one down. Devanshu with Queen 10. 10 big blinds, not going to play it. Like Alexandros may get a walk here. Edwards gets way out of line. He may see that 1.5 in the middle and think, wouldn't it be nice to add that to my stack, to increase my stack over 50%? How often is Alexandros actually going to have a calling hand? No. He's not going to get that far out of line. 8 deuce suited is just way too junky. And once again, these players are going to be on a break. We are going to skip the majority of this break. If you're watching on YouTube and you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button. It helps the channel out a ton. It also lets YouTube know that you want to see more content like this. And if you are thinking about getting on GG or playing on GG and you'd like some free training material to help you compete in the WSOP, check out grips.com. I don't know if I'm pointing the right way. /GG, where you can pick up this free training bundle, which includes my WSOP winning formula, a 6-hour training program on how I cashed the World Series of Poker 4 years in a row, everything you need to know. The 10-part MTT video guide, which teaches you how to play short stacks, medium stacks, big stacks, final tables, early stages, mid stages, late stages, satellites, big field tournaments, basically everything you know to succeed in MTTs. And the Strategic Game of Poker webinar, which will help you adjust to your table so that based on the table dynamics you have and the type of players you have, you'll know when to widen your ranges and tighten your ranges and so on and so forth. This is available at grips.com/WSOP. And when you create an account at GG Poker in the sign up code GRIPS, this package, my friends, completely free. Anyway, let's get back to the action and let's continue to sweat this final table and see how these players, see who's going to be taking home this World Series of Poker bracelets. 3.5 million Hong Kong dollars and the 461,000 US dollars. Jay Smoker says, I got it. So much info. I'm 3 videos in. Great info, Gripst. Thank you so much, J Smoke. Glad you are enjoying that WSOP training package. I'll put a link in both chats for anyone who wants to pick it up. And if you live in the States and can't play on GG, I'll throw another link in the chat for another bundle that's got some pretty darn good training material too. About 8 hours of MTT training material in that one. It is available at gripst.com/free. Cool. All right, so Allen opening. Did Allen open? Did Allen actually raise for the first time ever? Second time with King Queen. And Luis defended with 7-9. It's top pair for Allen. He bets. Mid pair for Luis. He check calls taking the price, and he turns 2 pairs. Will he lead with it? Indeed he will. Don't imagine Allen can fold to a turn lead here, but maybe to a river lead. How much Luis going to go for here? Will he go for 6? Will he go for 9? Go for 12? He knows he's targeting a queen, ace queen, king queen, queen jack, queen 10. These are the hands that he's targeting for value. How much does he think they will call? He thinks the magic number is 10.78 million. Question is, will Allen see through it? No, he will not. And it is a ginormous pot for Luis Eduardo Asuncao Garla. Guys, do not be afraid to lead out when you turn 2 pair spots like this. If you think your opponent is likely going to check behind on the turn with their top pair type hands and it's going to cost you some value, just go for the lead. Take the lead in the hand. Bet. Make sure that your opponent does not check behind. Don't allow them to pot control. And that's how you can ensure you get your implied odds when you turn your disguised 2 pair. And that's how you can find yourself with 96 million in chips when the second place stack has but 21. He's got almost 5x second place stack. He can do whatever he wants. He could put all the chips in here. Kunal can't call. I mean, he can call, but I don't think he will. You've got 2 shorter stacks, and you know, you're looking at outlasting those guys and doubling your money. Currently guaranteed 465 Hong Kong. He can get up to 917 by folding. He knows he's ahead of Luis's shoving range, but I think with the ICM considerations, 1, 2, 3 shorter stacks and another stack that doesn't really have a ton of chips either, I think Kunal may just fold this one. The ICM pressure is just through the roof here, and he does correctly fold it. So we're going to see Luis going to town here. Absolutely going to town. And as I told you guys at the start of the final table, the Brazilians, if you see a Brazilian at the final table of a WSOP replay that I have done, pay attention to them because they make great plays, they play great poker, and we can learn so much from watching this incredibly talented poker nation play cards. And Luis just doing another example of that right here. May not have had big results going to this final table, but you can tell that he was doing his prep work beforehand because he is playing incredibly well on this final. And Allen's had enough. He's check shoving all in with top pair aces, ace 5. I don't even know why he saw this flop. Limped in with ace 5 offsuit and then called a raise. And then just check rips it in. Lucky Luis was bluffing there. And that Wenhao didn't have a bigger ace because he would have been in very bad shape by any value hand. Made the call there. Alexandros is going to take the spot here with ace 6. Good luck, my friend, because you're certainly not getting it through the ace jack suited of Kunal, or the ace jack suited of Wenhao. Alexandros in very rough shape here. Actually gonna think about folding? Is he gonna think that he could be dominated so bad that it's not even worth putting in the last 2 bigs? Put in 3.5 and then fold? He does. Wow. Seems insane when you look at the numbers, but actually makes sense when you see the cards. Good discipline there by Alex. And that's one of the reasons that when you would normally go all in, you leave a few chips behind just so you have the option. Because if one of them had ace jack and another one had, say, pocket sevens, Alexandros is drawing completely dead. And he did save his tournament life. We don't know if it's going to pay off. He only has 2 bigs here, but he did save his tournament life with that laydown. And as he said, yeah, it's just going to be in such bad shape through it. Heads up, he's certainly running it, but once he gets into a 3-way situation or more, ace 6 is not the hand you want to bring to battle. Ace king, though, for Kunal. I think, okay, ICM considerations, he's just going to flat instead of shoving. Again, I'm always surprised to not see the chips go in, but I need to remember that this is an extreme ICM final table that we are looking at. And that's why the players are playing very cautiously versus the big stack here, Luis, who easily afford to call them off. And even though he's going to be opening extremely wide, sometimes he's going to have a calling hand, and this time he has turned basically the stone cold nuts. Jack's full of sevens. Kunal is drawing dead. Probably just going to find the fold hand. If he folds and maintains 10 million, he's still in 4th. If he calls and then folds on the river, he's tied for 5th. He's a lot shorter, but this way he's got some distance between him, Devanshu, Edwards, and Alexandros. I think Alexandros is going to be all in next hand no matter what he's got. Edwards going to be all in this hand most likely with ace jack. This is a pretty premium hand. Maybe he'll get fancy like Alexandros did and just call and take a flop here. You know, he wouldn't mind outlasting Alexandros, picking up the extra 24,000 either. Does just call. Alan with the best hand on the flop. Edwards second best. Luis in 3rd. Luis could apply the pressure, and he does. Alan going to fold the best hand. Is Edwards going to call off with ace high here? He is ahead. Can't loving the situation here. He is going to make the fold here. There's a very good price there. If Alexandros wasn't here with the super short stack, Edwards probably would have called and run the cards there. Tough to put the last of your chips in when you know that another player is going to be all in on the next hand. Here is where it's going to go down. Edwards has ace 5. It's good enough to push. Alexandros has half his chips in the middle. He's pot committed. It's 10-8 versus 8-5. And a pretty good flop for Alexandros. Flops an open-ender, pair draw, and a flush draw. Let's see if he can catch any of those outs on the river. A 6, an 8, a 10, a jack, a spade would all be good. It's black. It is blackjack, baby. That is a flush for Alexandros. He's going to double up to 3.3 million. And Edwards is in dire straits here. He has 2 antes left. 2 antes left. And it's up to him. Is he going to take it this hand and play for a pot of 1, 2, 3, 800,000? Or is he going to fold this hand and put it in the next hand and basically play for a pot of 500,000? We'll see. Yeah, Tiraj, that's a good point about the previous full house pocket jacks. Lewis definitely could have checked to Kunal when he had the jacks full a few hands ago. Probably just hoping that Kunal had a pair that was going to continue to call. What a chip lead for Luis Eduardo, man. Got 150 bigs. Second place has 30. This is insane, especially on a final table with so much money up for grabs. What an incredible spot to have such a chip lead. An incredible spot to have such a chip lead. You're playing for 3.5 million Hong Kong. $461,000 US dollars. Still at 7-handed where people only have 60K or 465,000 locked up. And with these two super short stacks in play, and another pretty short one here with Devanshu, Luis can just go to town here and continue to chip up. Very easy. Alexandros, pocket nines here. He's going to move all in. No real reason for Luis to call here with junk. Yes, he could get the double KO, but why bother? And Alexandros in great position here. Over an 80% favorite to eliminate Edwards, who flops a pair and turns a flush draw. A club, a 3, or a 7 will keep him alive. That 800,000 in the middle, in the main pot, going to go his way. He is surviving. 800K for Edwards. Alexandros picking up the side pot from isolating with 9s. And he is up to 5 big blinds. Edwards now has a full big, 10 antes. He can afford to be a bit more patient. And this time, man, what a spot if you're Kunal. Luis going to put him in. Jacks is so strong. And these guys are so short. Alex, what does the ICM say? If you're in Kunal's shoes, I mean, I feel like the big pairs are the ones that get called more than the ace kings. Yeah, JJ's doing really well. And Kunal's going to go for the reshiv. Luis is going to snap. It's a flip. Kunal is saying, please don't come over cards. Jack will do. Jack will do, dealer. Jack will do. King and a king only will give Luis the win. It is not going to be it. And Kunal now with a much more comfortable stack, 20 million. But he's still going to have to tread cautiously versus Luis, who has 92 million. Because now Kunal with second place stack has more to lose by busting out versus first place. So we will play cautious. I think Edwards is probably going to take the spot here with ace 9. Pretty strong hand here from the hijack. Got one big. If you were going to get a hand to put in your one big blind with, I'd rather take ace 9 in the hijack than a random pull for the next 2 hands, being the shortest. Fortunately for him, he's running into the kings of Kunal, but he is live with the ace. Ace of spades, ace of hearts, ace of diamonds. Going to come about 25% of the time in this spot. Now Kunal chooses to play it. Maybe about a 2.4 million raise. Seems reasonable. 2.8. Kunal, a big favorite here to get the elimination. But there it is. Ace of hearts on the flop. And ooh, a gut shot royal flush draw for Kunal Bhatia. A queen, a king, or a heart will give him this pot. A jack of clubs will not do it. And once again, short stack more than doubles up. He triples up. He's got 2.4 million. But blinds are up to 400, 800,000. So it's still only 3 bigs for Edwards. 4.5 for Alexandros. Our chip leader, Luis, 116 bigs. Going to continue to do his usual. Alan's going to limp in with his wide range. Luis going to min race, isolate, look to get it heads up. Wenhow's got a playable hand, so he's going to come along, and no one flops anything. See if Luis can take it down with a c-bet here. Doesn't need to go big. Decides to pass on the c-bet opportunity. Now Alan has turned a gut shot to go with his ace high. 5 would make him the wheel. The ace of spades will make him top pair. Check. In bet. For this sizing, Wenhow might call, but he might also just see it for what it is. Luis might have been able to take that one down with the c-bet, but he also didn't need that pot all that badly. Good luck to Alexandros here with ace-queen. Certainly going to be a hand that's going good to wager all the chips with. Just a quick sec here with our lighting. Cool. Want to lose those. Alexandros with another hand that looks strong enough to wager the chips with. Pocket 8s on 6 bigs. Gonna be putting the chips in. And Edwards gets a calling hand. Pocket 10s in the big blind. It's a 20. Don't split them. And definitely don't hit him. Taking his time as he has for all spots. Pull in the audience. They say it's a snap call, brother. What are you waiting for? Alexandros going to need the 8 of hearts or the 8s full of deuces. Will do. That will do just fine. Dropping a little not sure and a little thank you and a very bad run for Edwards. Last little bit of the way. That was rough. He came in with some chips, going out in 7th place for 465,967 Hong Kong dollars. That's 60,576 US dollars. And Alexandros has made the comeback. He is at 7.7 million. Chips. 9.8. I see he's following chapter 1 of my friend Fish Buffet's book, Learn How to Run Good and Ye Will Be Rewarded. Can we go back and sweat this one? I just want to see what the math was. Devanshu shoving 5 blinds effective with ace 4 as the short stack from the cutoff. This makes sense. Then next hand he's up to 7.5 blinds and shoves ace 8 from the hijack. Yeah, this makes sense too. Kunal. Afford it. Let's do a little Equilab on this guy. He's got to call 5 million into a pot of 12.5, so he needs 40% equity. He's got king of hearts, 9 of hearts. Let's just give Devanshu a pair. Any pair. We'll even just give him the good 8s. And Broadway. Let's even go tight on Broadways. Go tight on suited aces, even though probably not. So even against the tightest of ranges, something like this. King 9 suited gonna have 40%. Yes, it is. And if he's gonna be any wider than that, adding the rest of the suited aces in there, it's gonna be it's gonna be about the same. We have these Broadways in. We can see it's very close, but Kunal can afford it. He's just going to take the price. Maybe he says there can only be one Indian on this final table. King 9 suited versus ace 8, a flush draw and an overcard for Devanshu. He's going to need an ace or a diamond on the river to get the win. Wen Hao Peng calling for the run good. And Kunal Bhatia getting the KO. Going to be GG for our 6th place finisher. Devanshu Dork 21 Kurana from India taking home 653,684 Hong Kong dollars. That's 84,979 US dollars. We're now down to 5-handed play, and things are going to start to get more interesting. We still have Luis with a very big chip lead, overwhelming chip lead, 112 big blinds. Still more than half of the chips in play. Second place has about a quarter of the stack that Luis has, but we do have the short stack here, Alexandros on 9.6 big blinds, which means that Luis can put a decent amount of pressure on these medium-sized stacks. They do have a decent amount of play though, 20 big blinds for Wen Hao, 26 big blinds for Alan Sheng, and 31 big blinds for Kunal, so it's not like they're going to be forced to all-in decisions. Kunal taking the raise spot here. Is Alexandros going to take a stand with ace-6 suited versus the cutoff open? Tough spot. Going to take a flop and not a tough spot anymore. Flops the nut flush. And this one's easy. Just check, call, let his opponent bluff, let his opponent barrel with any value hands. Give his opponent a chance to improve if he has, you know, king queen type hand, king 10 type hand with a club. You could go either way on the river. He could check one more time, give Kunal a chance to fire one more bullet at it, or he could bet for value to get looked up by, you know, 10x or queen x that may check behind. Nice pot for Alexandros, bringing him up to 14.7 bigs. Almost enough to get him out of 5th place. But he's got to be feeling pretty good at this point. He's locked up 917,000 Hong Kong dollars. That's 119,000 US dollars. And over 120 buy-ins for the tournament. This was an $8,000 buy-in event in terms of Hong Kong dollars, a 1K US dollar event. And this payout, 5th place, is 120 times the buy-in, which is a very good result. The reason the payouts are so large in this event is because this was a multi-flight tournament. It had at least 7 starting flights for a total entries of 3,247 players. Everyone who made it through their first flight, which was, you know, probably about 4 or 5 or 6 hours, came back to play on Sunday, probably through the bubble, to the money, down to the final table, and down to a winner. Currently, we're down to the final 5 players. Luis Eduardo, Asuncao Garla, your chip leader, 95 million. Short stack Alexandros, the Sheriff Theologus, has pocket aces here. Has the opportunity to get back in the game. I like the flop check, giving Kunal an opportunity to bluff at the pot. It's a board that's not likely to have hit either player, so why not give your opponent a chance to take a shot at it? And if your opponent has a legitimate hand like a pocket pair, they're going to bet it themselves. So great check twice by Alex, giving Kunal the chance to bluff at it. And he got a full pot size bluff out of Kunal here on the turn. A very nicely played hand by Alexandros. And he is no longer going to be in 5th place. That well played hand. He's actually going to jump from 5th all the way up to 2nd. Just like that. Big props to you, Alex, for finding the double check there. Most players would not have had the discipline to keep checking, giving their opponent the opportunity to bet at it, but you did, and it paid off handsomely there. Reason Alex check shoved instead of check calling was if Kunal had a draw, Kunal will be priced in to call off, but also if Kunal had a pair that may call off, he wants to get the money in on the turn rather than both giving Kunal the free opportunity to see the river and giving Kunal the option to check behind on the river. So he's saying, if you're going to try to take this hand to showdown, you're going to pay the maximum. And if you're bluffing, cool, I'll take it down. Also, if Kunal is pure bluffing, he's probably not going to fire a bluff again on the river. So Alexandros is basically just protecting his hand and ensuring that they play for the maximum amount of chips if Kunal has a hand that is able to play. Kunal, or Alex, says in chat that yes, those are the reason. Greg Myers asking why we're pausing so we can talk through the spots, my friend. A lot of info to discuss. We're also watching the replay on 1.25x speed. We're watching at a higher speed than usual, and that lets us get to the interesting spots more quickly. But when an interesting spot comes up, we do like to pause to actually discuss what's happening and get the educational opportunities from this final table experience rather than just watching the cards run through and wins. Andros limping in with 10-7 suited. King 7. I think if we watched it on normal speed, we wouldn't need to pause, but overall it would probably take a fair bit longer since this was about a 3.5 hour final table. We're sweating here. For anyone. Going to the river. Luis with king high. Check it back and take it down. Alexandros not going to try to bluff into the chip leader. And Wen Hao Peng decides that he wants to put some chips in there with 9-7 suited. 13 bigs. Allen going to call the raise with ace-5 off. And Luis, I think knowing how loose these two players are, he's probably just going to re-raise. And indeed he does. Takes it down. That's an extremely loose call from Allen, ace-5 offsuit, but not out of the ordinary given what we've seen from him so far on this final table. Coming out to raise with kings. Kunal's liking the price with king-jack suited. May call 1 here for the price. Third of the pot. I don't think he'll call 2. Kyle Jorgensen asks what I think would change in competition if GG allowed US players. I don't think it would change too much because there are a lot of US players. They've just had to travel to play. So you still have all the best US players who are playing in these events. I guess if everyone in the US was allowed to play, you get a few more of the part-time pros and a few more of the recreationals. And if you had more recs, it would soften it a little bit, but I don't think it would be that significant of a change. Maybe we'll see if legislation changes in the future, because I'm sure GG is positioned to be ready to open to the United States if the government should allow it. Now, did call the turn bet, probably because it was so small. Alan Shine doing his typical extremely small bets on the turn. And now facing a third pot bet on the river, Kunal is going to find the folds. What up, Sydney? Rocking that platinum status. Looking good, my friend. Nice job with the thumbnails, and a really nice job with the email graphic, by the way. That was I was laughing for sure. Guys, let's get some hype in the chat for Sydney. This guy right here. He is the wizard behind the scenes who makes all things grips to work. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't be anywhere. We really wouldn't be anywhere. Much appreciation for that man right there. Great talent in the internet marketing space, and also just an all-around good dude. We've become decent friends over the years of working together. It's always nice when you get along with the people that you do business with as well. That's what makes good business partners. Good relationships and good complementary skill sets. Alexandros on the button with Queen Jack. Open it up. Luis may do a little messing around here. We do have a couple of short stacks here, so it's a nice spot for Luis to 3-bet and apply some pressure to Alexandros. He's going to snap fold. There you go. Turning the worst hand into the winner and building up a 100 million chip pot. If these short stacks didn't exist, I don't think we would have seen that 3-bet from Luis, but because there are these 2 short stacks and Alexandros has a lot of money to be made by just surviving and outlasting these players, you know, to the tune of about an extra $115,000. It's a great spot for Luis to go for the 3-bet there. And it makes sense that Alexandros would snap fold. All right, it's ace-5 versus ace-8. Ace-8 for Wen Hao, ace-5 for Kunal Bhatia. He's going to need a 3-outer to stay in this game, or 2 pairs on the board for some chopportunities. Pair of aces for both players. And going to need that 5 on the river. Does not get it. It is a huge double up for Wen Hao Peng. He's up to 19.75 million. He's now in third. Kunal is our short stack on 2 bigs, but he's going to be potentially getting right back in the game here if he's able to fade an ace and a king. Or not. He's going to need some help on the turn or river to survive. He's needing a 2-outer, Queen of Spades or Queen of Diamonds. Queen of Spades only for the win, or a diamond for the chop. Looks like it's a diamond. Kunal Bhatia going to be surviving, looking to improve on that $200,000 score from a previous final table that we reviewed here on the channel. Gerald Nachan asking about the number to the left of the players. This is the VPIP of the players. I'm not sure how many hands it's spread over, but this is representing their VPIP for some portion of the tournament. Maybe it's for the final table. And if there's a fireball, it means they've been running hot, running above average in terms of their all-ins and maybe in terms of the flops as well. And if they have the iceberg, which just disappeared from Kunal, it means they're running cold. And I think that's on the past, 5, 10, or 20 hands. It's not over like a huge sample. This doesn't mean that Luis has been running hot the entire tournament. It just means he's been running hot as of late. Take a flop here against Wen Hao Peng. Overcard the nut flush draw for Luis. Cards. Definitely not going to be going anywhere on this flop. Question is whether he plays it as a check call, check raise. Going to play it as a check call. Got Wen Hao in very bad shape, but Wen Hao could potentially bluff his way out of this situation. Thinks better of it, checks behind. Probably wants to protect this stack with Kunal Bhatia being so short here. Less than 5 bigs. 4.5 at this point. Alex, it could be that too. Could be how much of the pots you've been winning recently. But I think when I talked to the guy who works with him, he says it's how well they're running over the last recent pots. Kunal going for it with Queen 10 offsuit here. Interesting, because he doesn't have any fold equity, and he's likely to get called in not just 1, but 2 spots. Queen 10 offsuit is not all that premium of a hand. So it's 1.8 million more at Alexandros. He's probably going to at least call. Probably just call, actually. No, he's going to fold, and Luis is going to be the one who's priced in to call. And Kunal actually does get it in with the best hand with Queen 10 here. Little surprised to see Alexandros fold here. I guess the reason why was because we thought maybe Luis was trapping and maybe Luis is going to come over the top if he calls, but the price was pretty nice. And had he called, he would have eliminated Kunal from this tournament. Yeah, there you go. Alex thought that there's a good chance that Luis was trapping. A back raise there, and Kunal is getting himself back in the game here. Get himself back in the game. 11 million chips. 14.1 big blinds. Continuing to be willing to play pots with loose chip leader Luis Eduardo, Suncao, Carla. Is an open-ended straight flush draw for Kunal Bhatia here. He's going to ship it in on the flop. And Luis with absolutely nothing but the idiot end of a gut shot. Hold that one. On to the next hand. Great final table action here. Really fun to see all the extreme ICM situations. Really fun to see these short stacks navigating their way to survival. Alexandros was down to 2 blinds a couple of times. Kunal was down to a few blinds. Obviously, when you're on the final table itself, you're not loving to see the short stack survive because you want to get those pay jumps. But after the fact, it's pretty fun to watch. And this could be another one here. Kunal Bhatia, ace-king, dominating the ace-9 of Luis Eduardo. He just needs to fade one of the 3 remaining 9s or a diamond. Get the double up here. 5 of hearts. And now Kunal Bhatia going to jump up to 2nd place with 36 million. 46 big blinds. Luis still comfortably in 1st place though. Sitting on a massive stack. You see Kunal Bhatia going for the 3-bet bluff against Luis, who he knows is opening wide. Snap cold 4-bet by Wen Hao. Kunal getting 2-1. He's going to make the call, but he is dominated. Going to need to catch one of the 3 remaining 9s in the deck to find the win. Anything else Going to say winner, winner, chicken dinner for Wen Hao Peng. Running hot once again. Now he's the one who's up to 31 million, and we're going to get a bit more play at this final table. 15 blinds for Alexandros, 24 blinds for Alan Shine, 27 blinds for Kunal Bhatia, 39 blinds for Wen Hao Peng, and 95 big blinds for our chip leader, Luis Eduardo Asuncao. Then he has found the definition of the running hot or running cold, but it's still kind of vague. It will be an illustration of a player's current run. Could just mean they're winning a lot of pots. Could mean they're running hot in a Negreanu style. Tough to know. One thing's for sure. The features they have on GG are very fun and very cool, and it makes it a great place to play online poker. 100%. Big thanks to everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you're watching on Twitch, it's your first time tuning in, feel free to hit that follow button to be notified every time we go live. We have another 11 final table reviews planned over the next 3 weeks. And same story on YouTube. If you're enjoying the show, feel free to subscribe. It's free. Or hit that like button to let YouTube know that you would like to be notified whenever we go live again. I do apologize that I come on at random times for these things, but I'm just not the best with schedules these days. Whenever I feel the motivation, the inspiration, great spirit coming through me, I fire up the stream, go live, and I appreciate you guys tuning in when you can. If you miss any of them, they're all available on YouTube, right on the front page. Feel free to check them out anytime. Watch them as many times as you like. And any comments, feedback, questions, much appreciated. All I ask is if you have a question about a particular hand in a replay, is that you leave a timestamp for when the hand is, so I can easily click to the section, see the hand that you're talking about, and be able to give you feedback on it. Luis Eduardo opening King 7 suited under the gun, and Alexandros Theologus defending with King 7 suited as well. He's flopped an overcard and a flush draw. Gonna play it cautiously here. For check call. Give up here on the turn. Alex may fire a bluff here. King high, one of the weaker hands he's gonna make it to the river with. He can get his opponent to fold ace high. Would be worth it. But gonna go with the strategy of checking instead, and we see that they are going to chop it up, and Wen Hao Peng, as usual, would have flopped 2 pair. Kind of his thing. Fold the best hand, miss out on 2 pair, let everybody know. For the Gouda asking if the final table blinds increasing by number of hands instead of per minute. I'm not sure if it's just a WSOP thing or it's across all their tournaments. We'll find out later, but here it is. It's a big all in here. Alan Shine has flopped a pair and an open ender. Wen Hao Peng with top 2 pair. We get all the money in here. Alan's needing a king or an 8. Make the best hand. One more chance to catch it on the river. The spotter could be an 8. Like it's the 8 of spades. Alan Shine is now going to double up to 28 million, and Wen Hao Peng is indeed running cold in that situation. That pot would have given him 46 million in chips, a comfortable second place stack, and instead might find himself in trouble here. Luis with pocket 10s in the small blind against who he knows are 2 loose players. Goes for a 3-bet. Takes it down. And Wen Hao Peng really loving those Negreanu modes. And the blinds have gone up once again. 500,000, 1 million are the blinds. And that means that our short stacks, Alexandros and Wenhao, are going to have 15 bigs. Kunal right there with them as well on 19 bigs. Alan, second place, has 28 bigs. And our first place stack, Luis Eduardo Asuncao Garla, love saying it, has 86 big blinds. Welcome, Nick Connick, to the stream. Hope you're doing well today. The Alexandros finding a great spot for a reshove. A loose player opens, a loose player flats, and he's got a premium hand in the big blind. Reship it and stack those chips. Increasing a stack by about 30% always feels good to pick up a premium hand in those situations and to not get called. I'm doing well, Nick Connick, man. Glad you could join the stream. You've come at a really exciting time, man. It was pretty slow for the first hour and a half of this final table, but the action is really picking up now that we are five-handed. Final table. Everyone's probably feeling pretty good about being guaranteed almost $1 million Hong Kong dollars. Guaranteed over 119,000 US dollars at this stage of the tournament. Yeah, just enjoying watching these players battle it out, as we've been doing as many nights as we can. 2020 World Series of Poker. He's going to open here. From what we've seen from Kunal, probably going to see a flat call here. Yep. Play this one in position. Flop doesn't connect with either player. Luis bets here. He'll probably be able to take it away. He does. Slowly, steadily continuing to build his chips back up. Luis has been a real treat to watch on this final table, I must say. Always fun to watch a chip leader who really knows how to make use of their stack. He caught the one lucky break with the 9-7 turning to pair, but he did an extremely good job of getting value in a spot that a lot of players probably only would have got 2 streets total for the hand. He was able to get 3, and they were big streets. Well, and flop and bottom pair, checking and calling on the extremely draw heavy board. Alan with the flush draw now turns mid pair, and that's probably going to be the end of this hand. Alan with the overshove, probably only going to get called by better. Gets called, but does have equity, even when called. I wonder why his nickname is the Cockroach. What is it that cockroaches do? It's in alignment with the way he's playing. Welcome into the stream, Tommy Trips. Well, quite a few of the friends coming through tonight. Alexandros coming in with ace-10 suited. This is another spot where Luis could consider 3-betting with king-9 off. Put Alexandros in a very tough spot with those short stacks behind. The opts not to go for it. Just because you can 3-bet in a spot doesn't mean you need to, but it's nice in these replays to take a look at all the spots and consider, hey, that's a decent spot to 3-bet. That's a decent spot to 3-bet. And when you look at them and recognize that they're decent spots to 3-bet, then when you're in game, find yourself in a spot that normally you just pass over and ignore, you may notice it's a decent spot to 3-bet. Might even take it. Win. All right, mostly going to be a chop here. Ace-4 versus Ace-6, but it's going to be drawing dead. Turn for Wenhao Peng. A little Negreanu running cold right on cue. Good game from Alexandros. Wenhao Peng, very tough run at the end there. He played wild. He played aggressive. He played action. He played a solid, aggressive, hyper-aggressive Asian style, which is what Elke taught us back in the Razor's Edge book. Was the Asian style was hyper-aggressive. Were it not for some very bad luck at the end there, I think he would still be in here battling with a very healthy chip stack. But he's going to be taking home 917,020 Hong Kong dollars for his efforts. Not a bad consolation prize. I'm sure he's a little disappointed, but not a bad one. 119,000 US dollars for his 5th place finish. Now we're down to 4-handed. Alexandros here, ace king, definitely putting the chips in. Luis again looking for that 3-bet spot because of the short stack. He also made it a sizing that it looks like Alexandros doesn't have fold equity, right? He's made it a sizing where if Alexandros moves all in, Luis is getting 2-1 on a call. So it looks like he's going to call, which makes it a little tougher to commit all the chips with ace king, but hand is just much too strong for the situation. Does the right thing, putting all the chips in the middle. Takes it down. Now he's at 30 million. Four-handed play. All these players guaranteed over $1 million Hong Kong dollars. 1.286 mil for fourth, 1.8 million for third, 2.5 mil for second, 3.5 million for first. If you're looking for those prizes in USD, 167,237 for fourth, $234,610 for third, $329,122 for second, $461,709 for first, plus coveted World Series of Poker golden bracelet. Little bit of history up for grabs here. Opening ace nine, Allen doing what he does, taking a flop in position. Pocket twos. And Kunal going to take it down with a continuation bet. Taking that one down, and we still have quite a bit of coverage to get through here. This four-handed battle going to go on for a good chunk of time. So everyone who's watching, you are in for a treat. Will not be over anytime soon. We should be in bed by midnight East Coast time, 9 o'clock West Coast time. If you guys are watching over in Europe, well, you're already up way past your bedtimes anyway, so I guess you're in for the long haul no matter what. My friends on the other side of the globe in Australia and Asia, well, the day is just right about in the middle of it, so enjoy your lunch break. We will be here for it. Probably be finishing up around the time lunch finishes. Likely going to raise fold here with king nine suited. It's a hand that's good enough to open, but not a hand that is strong enough. Call an all in, especially not for all the chips. Jack suited, Allen, Shine, A's, and take it to the streets with Luis. 2 overcards and a flush draw for Allen Shine. No piece whatsoever for Luis. He is not going to do anything fancy. Not going to do anything tricky. Going to let that one go. Players are on a 5-minute break, but as per usual, we are going to skip the majority of it. Just want to let everybody know who is watching that if you are enjoying this review and you want to see more reviews just like it, they are all available on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Gripst. We have covered event 32, 33, 36, 38, 44, 45, 49, 52, and 56. You can see what the buy-ins are in the description or the title of the video, as well as what the first place prize was. Lots of really good learning content on these final tables. Some incredible poker action from top players in the world. So feel free to check them out at youtube.com/Gripst. They will all be available here for life for your viewing and educational and entertainment pleasure. That out of the way, get back into the action. And let's keep on stacking. Anyone who's just tuning in right now and wondering what is going on right now, we are sweating the final table of event 55, a World Series of Poker 2020, brought to you by GG Poker, and this review is brought to you by Gripst Poker Training. Evan Jarvis, huge poker fan, poker player, poker teacher, been playing this game for 15 years, teaching it for over a decade, and loving it since I first found it on TV. A big passion of mine, and it's an honor to get to do these reviews and share this kind of experience with you guys. So I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am doing it. Picking up ace deuce, blind versus blind, going to take it down. Easy shove. All these players are guaranteed over $1 million Hong Kong dollars. They ponied up 8,000 Hong Kong dollars to play this tournament. 1,000 USD. Started with 3,247 entrants. We are down to the final four. Alan is playing the weirdest poker I've ever seen, man. No 3-bet with ace king here. Now he's check calling with ace king. I can't break down his play because I don't understand why he's doing what he's doing. And now he's leading for a min bet. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Don't get it. Kingfish Stick's asking about the bottom of my betting range, BB versus SB. It depends on the exact spot. I definitely play on the tighter side. I probably play too tight, to be honest. Everyone in chat's loving it too. They're just like, this is the best. He can't figure this guy out. They're like, these are like all the players I play out in my home game and my micro stakes game, man, and I can't figure them out. So if you can't figure out what he's doing, how am I supposed to figure out these opponents? When in doubt, just play solid and let their very unorthodox play sink their own ship. You don't have to do anything too fancy. Usually just wait it out. You'll find yourself in a very favorable situation. All right, Alexandros, ace jack. Open. Kingfish sticks. I'm probably mostly doing broadways, suited aces and pairs. I'm probably going too tight, you know, like top 20, 25, 30% of hands. Probably, usually. But it also it depends on the exact stack versus stack dynamic that you're working with, and also just how wide the big stack or the small blind is going to be opening. Obviously, that range is very important. Hey, Nightbot, don't time out my man Doncamente. Man Doncamente, get it in there. Here you go, Doncamente. Post away. And Kunal Bhatia is doing a great job of playing in position versus Luis with dominating hands. Not being afraid of the chip leader, but also doing a really good job of playing small ball poker and, you know, seeing flops and not risking his whole stack for the times he's going to run up against the strongest hands in Luis's range. I actually learned quite a bit from seeing the in position flat calls that Kunal has opted to do, and the small bet sizes he's used to both get value, get protection, and get to showdown as cheaply as possible. Some really solid short stack play from Kunal. Solid post flop short stack play. Bhatia taking it down. Don Clemente, that's probably the same Alan Shine. If it's the one who's got like 20 years of experience and over 1 million winnings, yes, that same Alan Shine. That is the one. It's the one. Alex, what did you think of his play? I mean, it was different when you saw you had it cards down. I'm assuming you've watched this replay prior to, but being on the table with him, what did you think of his play as past? Great. Wow, perfect spot for Alexandros. He's got middle sizzle with the queens, top pair for Luis, top and bottom for Alan. And Alexandros, interesting no bet here. I mean, I get it. You want to give them a chance to bet at it. Previously with the top set queens, it made sense to check because the board was completely crippled. But in this spot, we could see Alexandros bet because he has middle set of queens. He can still get action from all the kings. And bottom set sixes would be an even better bet because he can get action from the kings, king, queens in those hands. But he does check and he's got the perfect spot. Alan, based on his style, is probably just going to ship it in here. He's going to min raise. Okay. Now, if you're Alexandros, do you click it back or does it look too strong? Put all the chips in. I feel like from what we've seen from Alexandros, he won't call and give Luis a chance to get in there in case Luis has a draw. He's going to click it back. Yep. 7.831 million. It looks very strong, but 2 pair on the flop also looks pretty strong. Imagine one way or another, these chips are going in. It's a ship and a snap call. Hey, Alex, what's the worst hand you're check min 3-betting the flop with here? 6s plus, right? Big cooler. Gonna need a king and a king only to make a bigger boat here. And that is gonna spell GG for Alan Shine. Based on ranges, he actually could have folded the king 6 to the min 3-bet on the flop, but he didn't. We'll just chalk it up to a good old-fashioned cooler. Alan Shine going to be finishing in 4th place, taking on 1.286 million Hong Kong, or 167,237 US dollars. And Alexandros has done a great job completing the comeback, down to 2 big blinds more than once. And he is now in 2nd place with 3 players remaining. A very healthy stack, 56 million. Guaranteed 1.8 million Hong Kong, 234,000 US dollars. 2nd place will get 329,000 US dollars or 2.5 million Hong Kong. And 1st place will get 3.5 million Hong Kong, 461,000 US dollars. And the Golden World Series of Poker bracelet. Here we are, three-handed. Our chip leader, Luis, 85 bigs. Alexandros in 2nd place with 55 bigs. And Kunal Bhatia in 3rd place, 21.7 bigs. But probably going to have a bunch more after this spot. Got the best hand, and Luis doesn't really have much of anything. He's just going to check fold on the turn. Now up to 27 million in chips. Oh man, no wonder Alex has the popcorn and is watching with us. Great job. He's like, yo man, you guys remember that time I was down to 2 bigs and I came out with a 6-figure payday? I remember too. I like to remember it as often as possible. So if it's going to be covered right now, I'm watching that with the boys. We do have a treat here. Alex Theo T is Alexandros right here. Theo. He's with us in the chat, giving us his thoughts on the final table as well, giving us the breakdown on some of the spots. That's how we got the extra analysis here. One of the real treats of doing this live broadcasting on the internet is occasionally you get the players themselves come join you for the stream. Very cool. How many places were paid out from the 3,000 players is a good question. I actually don't have access to the regular payouts. I only had access to the top 9 payouts. Maybe Alex can answer that. The guess would be between 320 and 480 places. Probably on the higher side. But we can't know for sure. All the props coming in on the chat. Awesome. Love it. Love it. Going for a value bet on the river. He's going to take it down. And could we maybe get a poll in the chat for who we think is going to win? Make it myself. Poll. I can. Who gonna win? Alex. Luis. Kunal. We'll make it a 10-minute poll. Get your votes in chat, guys. Get your votes in chat. One for Luis, the chips. One for Alex. Sydney says 404 places paid, man. This guy is like top wizard. Figures everything. Alex getting 7 votes. This is great. It's the sheriff versus Kunal's name on here is also Alex52, and then Luis's name is Zapilskinha. That's a tough one to pronounce. Sub-hero. Oh, I love it. Trick question. We are all winners as long as we have fun. As long as we see Alexandros going with the small ball approach, small blind versus big blind. It makes a lot of sense when there is a short stack here who only has 15 blinds. You don't really want to inflate pots against the other player who can bust you on any given hand. $105,000 pay jump, 100 buy-in pay jump is something you definitely want to give yourself the best chance of getting. So blind versus blind, we're probably going to see a lot of limping here from Alexandros. Maybe even limping 100% of his range, blind versus blind. We'll definitely see him raising on the button, but I think blind versus blind, giving the chip distribution here, especially with Kunal being very short, he's probably going to lean towards limping a lot and folding the button a fair bit to let Luis put the pressure on Kunal. So we have 11 votes for Alex, 3 for Luis, 3 for Kunal. See who the fan favorite is in this one. Oh, show. Opening, Kunal defending with the middling cards. Luis gets the better board, and Kunal probably just going to fold there. Get the board he was looking for, but a great hand to take a flop with in position. Jack 9 off. Any Broadway cards down to a 9x, maybe even down to an 8x. Going to be okay to defend there. Blind versus blind. But you do need to get the above average board to continue. And in terms of hands to go all in with, probably your ace-x and your pairs are going to play best for just chipping it all in pre-flop. All right, blinds up again. 600,000, 1.2 million. Kunal, the short stack, has 13.2 BBs. Alexandros in second place with 51 bigs, and Luis Eduardo Asuncao Garla has 69.2 big blinds. Now flopping the best hand with a pair of 4s, but Luis does have the gut shot. 10 or a 7 would also make him the best hand as well. Gonna fire 1. Kunal gonna bet for protection. He is. Going to buy the showdown with the third pot bet here. Gonna work. Protects himself from being outdrawn by the fairly live hand of Luis. 10, 9, 8, and 7 all would have given Luis the winner. BVB, we may just see a shove here from Kunal. Got 17 blinds. Can also go with the limp strat. Alexandros does not opt to raise with the bottom 10% hand. DJ Shades wants the the soccer celebration for Luis. I would if I lived on my own, Luis, but I do have a roommate, and my roommate has gone to bed. So if I were to go for that, that would be trouble. And Sydney calls the hot hand alert right on cue, right before the big hand goes down. Guys, let's get all my subs. Let's get our hot hands in chat. It's going down. Hot hand alert. Ace, king versus pocket aces. We know this money's going in the middle. They're bringing that heat. They are bringing that heat. It's your favorite spot to be in. All in pre-flop with aces versus ace king, about a 93% favorite, and your opponent's never getting away. Snap call from Luis. Everyone who voted for Kunal, you are in a tough spot here. 0.3% chance. Ooh, he actually catches the king. King of spades or king of diamonds. That's not a king. It's a 7. It's going to be a GG for Kunal Bhatia, but not a bad finish. He's taken home $234,610 US from this one to go with his $200,000 score from another final table, which we reviewed earlier. That's over $400,000. In fact, it's over $420,000 that he's picked up over those tournaments. I think he'll be pretty happy with his third place finish, taking home 1.8 million Hong Kong. And now we are heads up. Luis came in with the chip lead. He still has the chip lead, over 100 million in chips, 85 bigs. Alexandros came in with okay stack. Found himself very short up against the ropes multiple times, and he has gone from 2 big blinds to, at the bare minimum, second place finish. Both players are guaranteed 2.5 million Hong Kong dollars. 329,000 US dollars. And they're playing a 132K heads up match, US dollars. They're playing for 1 million Hong Kong. You guys are playing a 1 million Hong Kong heads up match here. And also playing for the golden brace as well. Brian Stevenson actually coming correct, says Bhatia has 3 top 3 finishes. Not just 2, but 3. So he is having a very good World Series of Poker over here on GG. That these Indians got some game. 52 blinds for Alexandros. 82 big blinds for Luis. See how it shakes down. Luis with a premium ace-10 here. Could play it either way. Flat and take a flop, or could 3-bet for value here with the blocker and to build the pot. They are fairly deep. 52 bigs. Gonna go with the flat call here. Alexandros, no real hand. Pretty dry board here. 9-4 deuce. Check back. Deciding he's too weak to put any chips in the middle. No real equity here in the pot if called. We go for the delayed c-bet on the turn. He's probably going to look him up here with ace high. At least 1 bet. If Alexandros fires 1 more, maybe he gets through, but if he's bluffing with this, he's bluffing with a lot of hands, so he's probably just going to check back here. Doesn't want to be firing 2 bluffs against the Brazilianaire. We know is capable of making those calls. Definitely see a c3 here. Queen 8 against king 2 suited. Gut shot for Luis. 2 overcards. 1 overcard for Alexandros. Probably just going to check fold here. Does. Really the board he was looking for. Much like 4-8 offsuit is not the hand he was looking for pre-flop. And let's take another flop. 7-6 suited versus Jack 9. And a great flop for Alexandros, flopping trip jacks, 9 kicker. Gonna go for the range bet here, meaning he's gonna be betting pretty much everything he's raised pre-flop on this board for a small sizing. Now, Alexandros going for the check raise here, and some may be thinking he has trip jack. Shouldn't he slow play? Well, if Luis has an ace or spades, Alexandros is going to get a lot more value by going for a check raise than he is by going for a check call. And once he check calls on this board, he has at the minimum strong gut shot and likely an ace or a jack. So Luis isn't going to keep barreling with the weakest hands in his range. So Alexandros is looking to build the pot against the stronger hands in Luis's range and accepting that he's probably not going to get any more value from the bluffs that Luis could have. And who's called it, man? From 1.5 big blinds to heads up sick run. Do you remember Back when Eduardo was still in, and Alexandros and Eduardo both had like 2.5 bigs. There were 7 people left. And here he is, heads up, guaranteed 329,000 US, 2.5 million Hong Kong. What a spot, man. What a spot. Way to just hold on. Yes, it took a little bit of luck, but also great job selecting the spots. Done very well to make it this far. He's king. Gonna 3-bet, take it down. Sizing here. 4Xer. We want to be going for a larger 3-bet sizing out of position. We'll be doing in position. Shumkuli says, similar to Joe Catta year. Funny story about the Joe Catta year, actually. I don't bet a lot of sports, but I bet a lot of World Series of Poker final tables. At least I did up till the 2016 year when I lost a little bit too much money for my liking. But the year Joe Catta won the main event, I think it was the year Phil Ivey made the final table, and I bet like all the pros. And I think I picked 5 players of the 9 players on the final table. And I was watching it, and I was watching it. It was a really long final table. And when they were down to maybe 5-handed, 4 of my 5 picks had gone out. And the only guy I had left was Joe Catta. And I'd gotten really nice odds on the bet. You know, I'd picked all the different guys. You know, got incredible odds on James Aikenhead and not great odds on Phil Ivey. Alexandros is probably going to do the honorable thing here and wait for Luis to come back. It's a very honorable thing to do. Heads up to not blind out your opponent, but to wait for them to come back from the disconnect. So I was down to 1 player. All the other guys surprised me, you know, and I couldn't keep watching. I was too tired. It was too late. I went to bed, and I woke up and saw that Joe Catta had won the main event, which. And I made, you know, probably a couple grand on the bet. I was feeling pretty good about it until I went back and watched the coverage and saw, you know, the 2 outers that Joe Catta had to hit and the comeback he made from a short stack. And I was thinking, I'm so glad that I didn't have to sweat that live for my bet, because I probably would have had a heart attack watching that action, only having 1 horse in the race and him being down to 2 outs multiple times. So, yeah, lucky to have that result. Yeah. Good thing I slept through it before getting the win. But I learned later that betting sports just not for me. Yes, it gives a little bit more excitement, but the pain of loss is always much greater than the feeling of winning. And I'm okay with just not having skin in the game and just enjoying the game for what it is. Not needing that extra bit of action to be involved. That's just me. Right, it's second pair for Luis. He's obviously going nowhere here. Top card pairing and the odds decreasing. That's Alexandros has a jack. Definitely going to be willing to take this one to showdown. Man, sometimes Twitch chat just gets me so good. I don't bet at sports, but I've been improving a lot at slots. Oh my god. Creepster remembering the spot. That might be the highlight of the night. The spot where Alex opened to 2.4 mil off his 4 mil chip stack with ace-6, and then folded when 2 players went to put them all in and had ace jack, and then folded to keep the 2 big blinds, and then laddered his way back up. That was crazy hand. And this could be a big hand right here. Bottom pair and an open ender for Luis. Middle set for Alexandros. Bet and a call. Although if the 8 or the king comes off, it's not like Alexandros is just going to go crazy here. Flop 3 of a kind. We'll likely see a big bet here on the turn. And great sizing here from Alexandros. Giving Luis the wrong odds to continue. Luis does find the fold. Got a couple of savvy players here. Savvy players, very aware players. Which is what we get at these higher stakes WSOP final tables. Alexandro going for the check raise here. This is a protection check raise. If Luis doesn't have a pair, he's going to be check folding all his cards that are live between aces and threes. Alexandros is basically protecting against a 6-outer. Unfortunately for him, Luis does have a hand. Maybe if he fired the river, he would get the fold, but Luis could easily have an ace here, having played it in this fashion. So pretty tough for Alexandros to find a third barrel here. Makes sense to give up. Arturo says, pull the trigger. Another opportunity. Yes, Kyle, they mail you a physical bracelet for winning a tournament here. It's not just a digital bracelet. You do get the real thing. I don't know how long it takes to arrive, but they do send it out. And I would imagine with the budget that GG Poker has, being a very successful online poker company right now, it's probably a pretty nice bracelet you get for winning any of these events. And you get all this money too. All that word on the street is takes about a month. Andros open. Luis gonna go for the 3-bet with Queen 4. Takes it down. We talked about that in last night's review. Finding the best candidates to use as 3-bet bluffs. Being the hands that are on the outside fringe of the hands you'd normally call with. Being blocker hands that don't play that well post-flop are really good candidates to use as 3-bet bluffs. Yeah, Shum Cooley remembers that final too. James Aiken, I got crazy odds on James Aikenhead. And also when I was betting that final table, I was like looking at all the different lines across the different sports books. So I had the best odds on every player that I could get. And I was like, I'm going to make a great amount of money. I was going to make the most money if Ivy won. Shocker. And I think the second most might have actually been if Kata won. So lucky. In Phil Hellmuth's autobiography, he calls him Joe Cada. Don't know why. Calls him Joe Cada, and he talks about it multiple times because he was coaching. Oh, I forget his name now. Shulman at that final table, and I think Shulman's one of the guys who got 2-outed by Joe. And there for Alexandros, but no action. The defend here from Luis. Oh, yo, Drawn Cup. Coming in with the tier 2 sub. Thank you so much for the tier 2. Thank you for the 3 months of support. Can we get some Tillies in the chat for Drawn Cup? Seen a lot of Tillies today, but everybody loves them. So bring them out, boys. Bring them out. Limping in with 7-4. He's Eduardo with Ace Jack. Taking it down. A flush draw for Alexandros here. Big flush draw, but a flush draw nonetheless, and he has now improved to a made flush. Will Luis fire a second barrel here with Jack high? The 8 of hearts. Well, going for the overbet too. Max pressure. What do you do if you're in Alexandros shoes? Just put it in now, facing that overbet. Oh, just call and oh my goodness. Gets outdrawn. Gonna go check on the river. Alexandros probably feeling pretty sick on that river. Just curious, Alexandros facing the overbet there. Reasons for just calling as opposed to raising. Obviously, we do know he can have better flushes. It's not like it's 6 high flushes the nuts. But just with the pot being as big as it was, just a little curious of thoughts for check calling versus check raising. Or potentially think worse hands that are going to be triple barreling there. Very interesting spot for sure. Okay. There's either a stronger flush or blocker hand. Either folds at 10% equity or calls at 100% equity. That makes perfect sense. Need to fear a 10% equity hand. I like having the pros up in the chat with us here. Get extra feedback from. Man, that's super cool. This is like such a sweet, like, added value we've gotten on tonight's stream. Like, wow. What a blessing. What a blessing to have Alex join us tonight. The extra breakdown inside the mind of. Top pair for Alex. 6s and 5s. Open-ended straight draw and 2 overcards for Luis. Pot could get big. Could certainly be going for a check raise here. Alexandros not going to be folding 6s and 3s. At least not yet. Turn is the straight for Luis. Keep betting. Shout out to Nutzer, gifting the tier 1 sub. Alex Theo T. Welcome, Team Grips. May you continue to stack them chips. Nice lay down on the turn. Gets the best hand to fold, but wasn't, I mean, king queen, not a monster hand there. And Luis with lots of equity there with the flush draw and the gut shot. All right, blinds up to 700,000, 1.4 million. Pretty sizable chip lead for Luis. That rivered flush was a game changer. He goes for the 3-bet with 5-3 and extends his lead a little bit further. Now having about a 4-1 chip lead. 91 bigs versus 24 bigs. Could be another key pot here. Overcard and a flush draw for Luis. Top pair for Alexandros. Going nowhere here. Check calls and another lucky river for Luis. Top pair. He may go for value here. Not the greatest kicker, but he can get value from a queen, possibly value from a 10 as well. Got about 2x the pot remaining. We go for half. Pot for Alexandros. He's turned. Top pair. Second pair on the river. Losing to a flush. Pair of kings and better, but he is beating all the flush blockers. What Luis had, minus the river. And big lead now, 10-1 lead for Luis. Maybe spelling the end for Alexandros here. A shove. Luis versus the limp of Alexandros. Take that one down. Gonna need a lot of help to get back in the game. Say deuces never loses. This could be it. 7 suited for 10 bigs. Good enough to go? I think so. Deuce is going to be a snap call. Needs to fade the queen, the 7, and now he needs a lot of help. Deuce of hearts or deuce of diamonds on the river. But Alex needs to get back in the game. That is going to spell GG for Alexandros, the Sheriff Theologus, taking home 2.5 million Hong Kong dollars. That's 329,120 USD, which is a very good payout considering he was down to 2 bigs, and considering that if he open shoved with the A6 instead of just going with the raised fold, he definitely would have been getting 7s for 60K. Made himself an extra $270,000. Incredible run from Alex Theo T. Big appreciation for you joining us tonight in the chat and giving us your expert insight as well. And congratulations to our champion, another Brazilian, taking down another bracelet. Luis Eduardo Assuncao Garla takes home 3.551 million Hong Kong dollars, 461,709 US dollars, and Golden World Series bracelets. Once again, to everyone who is watching, if you enjoyed this final table review, like to see more of them, check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/grips. We'll be adding this one to the playlist immediately after it finishes processing. All the final table reviews we've done so far, we have 10 of them, and 10 more on the way, are available at youtube.com/grips. If you enjoyed this video on YouTube and want to see more of them, hit that like button and let YouTube know that you are interested in catching more final table reviews like this one. We're going to keep them coming on the random schedule, and feel free to leave your comments, feedback, and question as well. Always love to hear from you guys so I can improve my offering to you, community, improve my teaching and improve your education, help you improve your poker game. Shout outs to our first place finisher, Luis, our second place finisher, Alexandros, and our third place finisher, Kunal, who now has 3 top 3 finishes at this final table. And a big thanks to everyone else who made this final table an awesome learning experience. Been a lot of fun casting it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I did providing the show. That little bit. I'm going to go from YouTube. Going to hang out for a little bit more on Twitch. You guys are welcome to join me there at twitch.tv/grips. Put a little link in the chat. We're just going to talk a little bit more about the stream, what everyone's favorite moment was, maybe put together some highlights and stuff so we can put together some good clips for the future. But big thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. Thank you for your questions, your comments, your feedbacks, your likes, your subs, your support. It all means a lot to me. Your help and support enables me to continue to do this on a regular basis. It really is a dream come true to get to be involved with the World Series of Poker this year. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of an awesome broadcast. If you guys want to do any studying, feel free to check out that free WSOP training bundle, grips.com/WSOP. And if you want to watch some live action, I will be playing in the WSOP myself this Saturday, doing an 8 a.m. stream with cards up. A whole lot of fun. Till then, thanks again for watching. Thank you so much for everything. Feel free to come join us on Twitch. And if you don't, you know what to do. In the meantime, take what you learned, go out there, get stacking, and thank you so much for being another part of an awesome stream. Great evening happen. Say good night for now. See you later. See you next time.